Chapter 99 Harvest. Xianxia and Xiao Taotao could not recognize those plants, but Qiao Xian had the impression, because she had bought them for the senior member of the family in her previous life. True, here they were. Fifth sister-in-law, is it a good thing? Can we sell them for money? Xiaoqi and Xiao Tao did not care if they recognized the plants, as long as their fifth sister-in-law was glad. It meant that the plants were definitely going to be precious. Qiao Xian nodded as she rubbed her hands. These are excellent things, precious medical herbs, which can be sold at a really good price in the pharmacy. Gastrodia alatas had always been sold at a high price starting from the ancient time. Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao cheered. What are we waiting for? Go and grab them. Fifth sister-in-law, what are they called? We will dig them all up. Qiao Xian smiled. They are called Gastrodia alata, growing in the earth. You have to be very careful when digging them. You should not hurt them, or they will lose all their value. Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao nodded. Xiao Taotao asked again. Fifth sister-in-law, how much can they be sold for? Qiao Xian thought for a while and shook her head. I am not very sure, but I think that it should be more valuable than honey. Ah. What? Their eyes widened upon listening to her, and they gasped. Both of them became even more motivated and careful hearing that. The brother and sister were fully prepared. Fifth sister-in-law, don't worry, we promise to be careful. Qiao Xian nodded with a smile. Good that you are careful, but a little twisted stems are okay, don't get too nervous. Qiao Xian suddenly thought that she may be able to repair the damaged plants with her superpower. She wondered whether that method worked. Even if she could not, small damages were fine. She could use her superpower to avoid the damage in the stems. But Tao Tao and Qi would not able to do so, they were not real professionals. However, Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao were not convinced by Qiao Xian. We will definitely remain cautious. Yes, we will not hurt the stem. That was all potential money, far more valuable than wild honey. The three of them did not bring any shovels on this day, only blades. They needed to chop the plants away so as to make a path across the wilderness. Soon, Xiaoqi sharpened a sharp-tipped twig and the digging started. The terrain was low and flat in the woods, and the soil was not too wet or too dry. The plants were growing really well. As a result, it was much easier for them to dig out things. Soon, they managed to get a good harvest. All the plants looked ripe and weighed heavily, with some soil stuck to them. The plants had a fragrant and fresh fragrance, but their noses could only smell money. 20 mu plants like this were not easy to be dug fully, and they could not possibly carry everything back even when they were done. They had just completed digging 1 mu when their baskets were full. They were not strong enough to take away everything. Xiaoqi said, I will bear this place in mind. Let's go home first. What are we going to do with this plant? Sundry it too? Qiao Xian had just tested that her superpower was able to repair the damage of plants, but the wounds could not be too large or deep. She was in a good mood. Hearing what Xiaoqi said, Qiao Xian thought for a while and said, we can't do this again and again. Let's go home first and bring third brother, elder and sister-in-law here tomorrow. Chapter 100 Ideas. The plants across the 20 mu were ripe and lush, because no one had harvested them before. It was the correct time, but soon they would go bad. Qiao Xian decided to move them back home before they were discovered by others. The plants were not growing very regularly, and she decided to get some more laborers for help. With their help, the harvesting would take just a couple of days. The three of them returned to the village. Qiao Xian and Xiao Taotao waited for Xiaoqi to get the bullock cart to their spot. Then the three of them went into the town together, and arrived at the pharmacy called Mingren Tang. They went to the old client whom they had sold stuff to earlier. Qiao Xian had no idea how to deal with Gastrodia alata herself, and it would be too troublesome and eye-catching as well. What if those nosy people came to their home and made trouble? They could just dig and sell, saving a lot of trouble. Those relatives were so shameless. How could they just return like nothing had happened every time they finished the argument with her mother-in-law? It basically meant that they were thick-skinned Wuxia. It came to their own interests and had a greedy disposition. Hearing that they had Gastrodia alata, Manager Qin was really astonished. But for Qiao Xian's previous visit and their generous sale of hundreds of kilos of wild honey last time, he would not have believed their words. Instead, he would have thought that they were here causing trouble and would have driven them out. Seeing the plants they had brought with them, he was surprised. They were freshly dug with soil still attached. Manager Qin was surprised and happy, as he said emotionally, "You are indeed lucky. Of course we will take it. I will buy them at a reasonable price. Do you have any more?" Manager Qin looked at her expectantly. Qiao Xian replied with a leisurely smile, "Of course yes, we have found more than 10 mu of it in the mountains. This is just a small portion we have dug. So, Manager Qin, name a good price, otherwise we will not go and dig them any further." Manager Qin would not have believed those words if they were spoken by someone else, and he would have quoted a low price if he was dealing with regular villagers. Well, everyone was trying to make some money, right? But he had to believe what Qiao Xian said. She was a reliable person, and she must be right about what she had said. Qiao Xian would not trick him, like the others. Manager Qin smiled. "You are funny, little girl. My Mingrantang is always fair and sells things at a right price. You can bring all kinds of medical herbs you can find, and we can buy it from you at the right price. The plants are raw, and we still need to deal with them, which may take some time. I will pay 2 liang for every 500 grams, okay?" Xianxia and Xiao almost fainted and their hearts skipped a beat. They exchanged a shocked look between each other. What did they just hear? 2 liang? They had spent a lot of effort carrying the bags and baskets from the mountains, and it should weigh at least 35 to 40 kilograms together. So, how much were they going to receive? They just could not calculate it anymore. Chapter 101 Nice treatment. Qiao Xian thought for a while and smiled. "Okay, 2 liang isn't a high price, but Manager Qin, you pay promptly, so I will take the deal." Good. "Miss, if you have some more, bring it to us please." The manager let out a sigh of relief and smiled, as he asked the assistant to start weighing the goods. 2 liang for 500 grams was not a low price, nor was it high. The manager was trying to get a bargain, because he did need to spend extra effort in dealing with the original plants. Qiao Xian took the deal and told him that she was aware of the market price well enough. Manager believed that if the seller was not as smart as this young miss, he would definitely have managed to buy all the plants at 2 qian per 500 grams instead. The final bill was 172 liang for 43 kilograms. If they give half of it to the shared savings, each of them would still get dozens of liang in the end. The 3 of them were really pleased. They bought some good food, and Qiao Xian fetched the newly tailored clothes, before heading back to the village happily. Qiao Xian asked Xiao Yunduan to join them when she was handing out the money. Xiao Yunduan was startled as he said, "You went to the town? You have to tell me when you go to town next time. I need to be with you." Qi and Tao could do nothing. If something happened, they were not going to be of any help. They would even be frightened away. Qiao Xian got very happy when she heard that he cared about her safety rather than the money, so she said, "All right, next time, I will tell you first." Qiao Xian was smiling inside her heart. She was so lucky to have a husband who treated her nicely. Xiao Yunduan was really worried about her safety. He had witnessed how Madame Qiao and those from the Qiao family treated her, so he was really angry and concerned about her. He was scared that she would run into them. Those annoying servants were even worse than their masters. They would always flatter the masters in all kinds of manners. What if some housekeeper, servant or annoying aunties ran into Qiao Xian and bullied her? But seeing how Qiao Xian reacted, he suddenly became shy. But he felt somehow happy too, when he saw her cheerful face. Qiao Xian, Xiao Yunduan, Xiao Tao, Xiao Xiaoqi, Miss Fong were dividing the money. Ms. Su did not notice the amount of money, as she was watching her children eating snacks and putting on new dresses. Ms. Fong and Xiao Yunduan were very surprised to see this much money. Qiao Xian took 2 notes, each of them was worth 50 liang, whilst the rest was 10 liang as well as some small changes. They had spent some on food, such as ribs and pork belly as well as 50 kilograms of rice and 15 kilograms of flour. Those staple foods were consumed fast in a large family like theirs. Miss Fong patted her throbbing heart as she said in a shivering voice, "This much money was earned because you sold that plant? Yes, Mom. The three of them nodded with a smile. Oh my! Ms. Fong almost collapsed. It is so much. Mom, this is just a small part. We have seen more than 20 mu of the plant. We can dig some more tomorrow. We are going to earn much more than this. Ms. Fong. Let me test it slowly. Xiao Yunduan helped Ms. Fong to sit down. Mom, Ms. Qiao found the plant, but I think that if she gives half of the earnings to the shared pool, it might be a bit too much. What do you think? Chapter 102. No greed. Xianxia and Xiaotao nodded as well. That was exactly what they were thinking too. But for fifth sister-in-law, we would not have recognized the plant, nor would we have sold it for this much money. Fifth sister-in-law should take the largest share. Yes, yes. Qiao Xian did not care much about it. She knew what her mother-in-law was like. She smiled. It is fine, we have all worked hard. But Mom, you have to hide the money and never share it with anyone else. The others agreed as well. They believed that this was the most important thing above all. Ms. Fong took a deep breath. Ms. Qiao, Duan, Qi and Tao Tao are right. You earned the money. You don't have to give so much to us. What about you giving 20 liang to me, and the rest can be yours? 20 liang was already enough for them. Honestly, they could not save 20 liang even in an entire year in the past. Ms. Fong believed that she should cherish the windfall, rather than being greedy. Qiao Xian was able to earn this much money, because she was fortunate. The others should not be too greedy for her money, otherwise there would be misfortune along the way. Startled, Qiao Xian had not expected that her mother-in-law would be so generous. She said, Mom is right, just do as she says. Xiao Yunduan added. She could keep her earnings. Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao had no objection to the proposal. Qiao Xian thought for a while and agreed with a smile. Then I won't say no. Ms. Fong said with a smile, you deserve it. Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao did not do much and still got 20 liang respectively. Qiao Xian had more than 120 liang in savings right now. She stuffed 2 liang back to Ms. Fong. That was an extra benefit, which made Ms. Fong smile. Her daughter-in-law was quite understanding and knew how to make money and respected her. She was the lucky star of the family. When they were done with money sharing, Xiao Miling and Xiao Xiaoji came, looking around. Xiao Xiaoqi immediately said, we don't have any wild animals today, cousins. So, they could just stop looking. Xiao Miling smiled. You borrowed a bullock cart to go to the town, what did you do there? Xiao Xiaoji. What did you buy? Qiao Xian replied. Why must we report what we have brought to you every time? It is none of your business. She left from there without speaking with them anymore. Xiao Miling and her sister got so annoyed that they turned to look at Ms. Fong, who ignored them as well and went into the kitchen instead. They realized that their elder aunt-in-law would not defend them against her daughter-in-law. Let's leave. The two of them dashed off. Soon the two elder women were at the door. Ms. Fong countered them and the two of them left in anger as well. Ms. Fong realized that they should not be indulged, even though her family was making money now. Qiao Xian cooked some more food for dinner. She made braised and sugar-coated ribs, and turned pork belly into braised meat whilst adding some chives with egg soup and eggplants and beans. Qiao Xian thought that her father-in-law would say something about this, but her father-in-law said nothing even after they finished the dinner. Qiao Xian was very surprised. Xiao Yunduan immediately clarified. They owe you 2 liang. Dad doesn't dare to say anything right now. Qiao Xian struck her head. Ah, good. It was good that she had a substantial dowry. Chapter 103. No step backwards, she could do whatever she wanted. What Qiao Xian did not know was that when eldest uncle returned to the room, he had a long chat with Ms. Fong. Although he did not believe it firmly, he still insisted. They were just here on a visit, why are you treating them as if they are thieves? It will make our name sound bad, and it will hurt us too. We are one family, Ms. Fong sneered. We are not one family. We are living separately. We all have sons, daughter-in-laws and grandchildren to support. What are they doing here? They keep thinking about getting something from us, whenever they see us bringing something home. Just on a visit? They always return to their home with something or the other. Qi is not yet married, but when he has a wife in the future and they keep coming to us again and again, his wife is definitely going to be annoyed. No nephews are going to support their uncles and aunts. They can get something from us occasionally, but they come to us every time Qi goes up to the mountain. But Ms. Qiao can buy whatever she wants. Why is it their business? Why must they dig into what she is doing? Must she share with them what she has got? They will always come to you whenever we refuse to give them something. You can share things with them, but leave us alone. If you are not convinced, just ask your son and daughter-in-law who on earth is willing to share the gains. You can go and ask anyone. Bah, don't ever say that they have nothing and will give us something when they have it. Look at Xiaoji and Meiling. When they eat candies, they don't share any with Tao Tao. When they kill roosters for a meal, have they ever shared a bowl of soup with us? Eldest uncle, he could not come up with any instance when he was offered something by them. A rooster is so small. If they have anything spare, they would definitely share it with us. Ms. Fong sneered. What do you mean by small? If they have the heart to share it with us, they would do that whenever they want. They have taken full advantage of us. Now they should just stop it. Our children are growing up, and we are going to have more daughters-in-law. You are defending your brothers, but if you expect your daughters-in-law to support their uncle and aunts, I don't think that any of the daughters-in-law would be glad to do so. Are you trying to make sons and daughters-in-law to get separated from you? Eldest uncle was angry. We are one family, we don't have to split hairs. You don't, but what good have we got? Why can't we split the hairs? We need to share every time. But they share nothing, and think that we owe them something. You can be generous, but leave us alone. Having said this, Miss Fong became even angrier and went to sleep. She was definitely not going to take a step backwards. She was strong enough to snap at him. She had her son and daughter-in-law to back her up, and it did not matter if her husband was arguing with her. Maybe he could just leave the family. He could check if his brothers would want to keep him and feed him. The following day, eldest uncle was not feeling well, but no one noticed it or spoke with him. That made the old man feel even worse. He had nowhere to vent his anger either. So, he skipped breakfast and left with a shovel on his shoulders. Xiaodong was down to earth and seemed to have sensed that his father was upset about something. Ms. Fong sneered and waved her hand. Just leave him alone. He would come to join them for a meal when he was angry. Or he was going to ask his brothers for food. They would never be that kind to take care of him. Xiao Delong did not think that it was right, but when he was about to say something more, Ms. Su blinked at him and stopped him. Chapter 104 Ms. Zu's anticipation. Ms. Su snapped at him. Don't be silly. Dad and Mom must have had a row. As their juniors, we should not get involved in the matter. Xiao Delong was startled. A row? That can't be possible. They were fine last night. Ms. Su snorted. Who knows? But just listen to what Mom says. If you ever dare say anything more, she will teach you a lesson. Xiao Delong thought for a while and nodded with a small answer, saying nothing more. After breakfast, Xiaoxian asked them to help dig the Gastrodia alatas. Qi, third brother, and I found a large patch of it, and they are very valuable. Brother and sister-in-law, help us in bringing it back. I will pay you 5 liang a day. It will take just a couple of days. She had asked Ms. Fong about the payment, and Ms. Fong agreed with it. Only Xiaoxian recognized Gastrodia alata, and it was she who found this valuable plant, so Ms. Fong even believed that 5 liang for the couple would be a little too much. 5 liang for one day? If Xiaoxian was a stingy person, she could have kept it as a secret and sell it on her own. She could have earned all the money by herself. But she exposed this to the family because she treated them well. Also, half of her earnings would need to be handed out to the shared savings. Xiao Delong and his wife, as well as Xiao Sanlang, were shocked. Fifth sister-in-law, Ms. Zu's voice was shivering. Are you saying that we can earn 5 liang a day? 5 liang? Xiao Delong found that Ms. Zu's reaction was a little bit improper, but he could not help but turn to Ms. Su, who was gasping. He looked at Xiaoxian and said, Fifth sister-in-law, have you made a mistake? Xiao Sanlang gasped and had not become normal yet. Brother! Xiao Xian smiled. I have not made a mistake. 5 liang for 1 person per day, 10 liang for 2 days, but please keep it a secret. I will absolutely keep it a secret. 5th sister-in-law, let's go now. Ms. Su almost jumped in excitement. 10 liang for 2 days. They would earn 20 liang for 2 days together. In a couple of years, they would be able to afford to send Junyan to school, even after handing out the money to the shared savings. Ms. Fong could not help but throw Ms. Su a disdainful look. This narrow-minded woman, she acted as if she had never seen any money before. But then she realized that she had really never seen much money before. So she decided to drop any disciplining talks with her. Just listen carefully. Ms. Fong snorted. You should tell this to no one else, including your father. If you meet your mother's family, you should keep it a secret from them as well. Never mention this to anyone ever, understand? Ms. Su was startled and nodded constantly. So did Xiao Delong and the others. Soon they set out to do the work. Xiao Yunduan tagged along as well. He was trying to take a walk in his spare time, to balance his time devoted to his studies. They worked fast, and it took them just half a day to finish the work. Compared to the digging, transporting was an even more difficult task. It was a long way to go. They were all good at physical labor work, but it took some effort to carry everything out. Xianxia rented a bullock cart and they all gathered at the entrance of the village. Xiao Yunduan decided to keep Qiao Xian company in the town, whilst Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao followed along. Ms. Su was very excited. She was nervous too, and did not follow along out of hesitation. Do you think that 5th sister-in-law will give us the money? Ms. Su did not believe that it was a reliable thing. That plant looked like cheap stuff. Were they worth a penny? Chapter 105 Acceptance. Xiao Delong said, 5th sister-in-law doesn't joke around. When she makes a promise, she definitely sticks to it. Ms. Su nodded and smiled. Then we will have 20 liang altogether, and we are going to have savings of our own. Yes. Xiao Delong smiled with brightened eyes. They sold a lot of plants this time, and the weight became 268 kilograms. Manager Qin counted it as 270 kilograms instead. The payment was 1,080 liang altogether. Manager Qin's eyes almost popped out, and he asked his assistant to serve them tea. He said in a flattering tone, Mr. Xiao and Mrs. Xiao, how much more of this do you have? Qiao Xian thought for a while. Similar to this amount, not too much. It was wild growing and the production wasn't that great. Otherwise 20 mu of Gastrodia elata would have led them to great fortune. Good. Manager Qin said with a smile. We want it all, we buy it at this price, okay? Qiao Xian smiled. Okay. Qiao Xian gave Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao 100 liang each. It was they who kept Qiao Xian company when she found Gastrodia elata, and they deserved to have this much share. The two of them accepted the money happily. Xiao Xian gave nothing to Xiao Yunduan, but asked him with a smile. I can keep it for you and you can turn to me when you need money, all right? Xiao Yunduan suddenly thought of how his mother guarded the money at home, and how his sister-in-law watched out for the savings, so he wondered what she meant. But Xiao Yunduan cut off the suspicion and nodded. Okay. Qiao Xian chuckled and stuffed the money into her arms. Back at home, they started to divide the money. They gave Xiao Delong, Mrs. Su and Xiao Sanlang 10 liang each, and they would receive 10 liang more the following day. Ms. Su was so happy that her eyes sparkled. She thanked her constantly and wondered where she should keep the money. Xiao Sanlang was glad as well. He had the money, and he was going to sell more of this plant with his brother tomorrow as well. He was going to buy a lot of good food, like braised pork, roasted chicken, big ducks and all kinds of delicious meat dishes from Restaurant Yenhe, some candied sugar-coated dried fruits from dim sum shops, melon seeds and peanuts and so on. He was going to buy a lot. It made him so happy. Qiao Xian gave 100 liang to Ms. Fong as well. Ms. Fong accepted the money when Xiao Yunduan told her to. Qiao Xian could not help but smile. Mom, I really admire you for how you deal with different things. I am so glad to have a mother-in-law like you. Ms. Fong was not greedy at all, which Qiao Xian appreciated greatly. Honestly, you girl. Ms. Fong chuckled. It is Duan's honor to have married you. But you are right, I am not greedy. I feel so glad to have you here. Yes. Qiao Xian smiled. Mom, you are kind and friendly, and you will certainly have a lot of good fortune. Ha! That is great. Miss Fong laughed loudly. Xiao Yunduan. He almost believed that he was the extra one. The following day, they worked hard and earned 1,260 liang after the sale. Qiao Xian gave 100 liang to Miss Fong, Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao each, and gave 20 liang to Xiao Sanlang, Xiao Dalong and Mrs. Su respectively. Chapter 106. Qiao Xian more satisfied she had 900 liang left to herself. In this way she had approximately 1,900 liang saved with her. Great that she had the superpower. Money just came in like a flood. Otherwise she would not have been able to find those precious things in the mountains. After all, it wasn't easy to find those hidden treasures in the mountains, and that was why the villagers were all so poor. A day later, Qiao Xian planted 2 mu of Gastrodia alata. She had asked manager Qin to get 2 mu of Panax nodo ginseng and 2 mu of Taizi ginseng seeds for her. It would be better if he could get ginseng seeds or ginseng that was still alive. Manager Qin nodded and even signed a contract with her. He asked her to keep planting those things and they would buy all the plants at a relatively reasonable price. Also, they were also going to return the money for the seeds to her. Well, if the plants did not grow, then she would have to bear the cost of the seeds. This was because the seeds for Panax nodo ginseng and Taizi ginseng were not cheap. Qiao Xian heard that Mingren Tang was operated by the Tang family in the capital, which was a medical family and received full respect. The grandpa, namely the master of the family, used to be the imperial doctor for the emperor. He was from a very noble and reputable family of medicine. They might not be the most prestigious one, yet they were least one of the most prestigious ones. Due to the special social status, even the most prestigious families would not dare offend them, and sometimes the most prominent families would even want to do them a favor. After all, everyone needed doctors at some point. The richer a family was, the more scared they were of diseases. That was why Qiao Xian became even more satisfied. If she was able to continue her collaboration with the Tang family, then her original parents would not dare do anything to her either. The Tang family was a noble family and they had been running a medical business, which needed a stellar reputation. Due to her and Xiao Yunduan's social status, the Tang family would not do anything like stealing the techniques from her, like planting those herbs. Ms. Su was willing to help when they were planting Gastrodia alata. She was very envious of those 2 mu of Gastrodia alata. She could not help but let out an emotional sigh, standing with Xiao Del. This is a very valuable plant, and they are going to make even more money. What about us seeking these plants in the mountains too? If we find some ourselves, we are going to make a fortune as well. She knew that even if half of the earnings was given to the shared savings, it would still mean a great deal. Xiao Dong was a down-to-earth man. He said to her, "They are not so easy to plant. We know nothing about it. Just drop it. We can't recognize those valuable things in the mountains, and it is dangerous out there. We have earned so much this time already." Ms. Su pursed her lips. "It is never too much money for us. Also, we have earned 60 liang, but 30 liang are for the shared savings, and we only have 30 liang left. That is so little." Xiao Delong turned a surprised look at her. 30 liang was not enough? Darling, don't overthink it. We are just ordinary farmers and we should not be greedy. All right, all right. Ms. Su felt as if she were stricken down. She snorted. "Those are just thoughts, look at what you are saying." Xiao Delong scratched his head and tugged her sleeves. "I don't mean anything else, I just mean that we should learn to be satisfied. Look at what we have now, it is enough." Chapter 107. Recognition. Ms. Su. This man was dull and dumb in head. Messages just did not get through. But he was slightly better than before. Who would complain about gaining so much money? The fifth sister-in-law could pay them this much money, probably because she herself had earned a lot. Well, she could not say anything about it, since she earned the money with her abilities. But if she could recognize what the plant was like, then she could go into the mountains and dig them herself. She could sell them and earn the money for her own pocket. The more Ms. Su thought about this, the more she wanted to do so. So the next day, she pretended to work in the land, but sneaked into the mountains instead. She was going to find Gastrodia elata. She had no knowledge of what it looked like, but when she was digging the plant, she bore the appearance in her mind. As long as she could run into the plant, she was going to recognize it. But Gastrodia elata was not easy to find. Without Xiao Xian's superpower, it could not be possibly found at all. Anxious, Ms. Su panicked. She kept going deep into the forest without any awareness. The path as well as the trees were getting so strange and the veins were flourishing, getting denser. But Ms. Su just did not notice the change. When she realized that something was wrong, she glanced about as cold sweat dripped alongside her cheeks. Where was she? It was very quiet around, and trees were covering her head, as if there were numerous pairs of eyes hiding behind the woods, and a beast would come to lunge at her and eat her up. Suddenly, Miss Su let out a scream when she heard a weird sound of a bird chirping across the mountains. She tripped over and fell. She kept screaming and ran backwards despite the pain. Luckily, Miss Su left some footprints on the path that was barely visited by anyone. She grew up in the countryside and often worked in the mountains. So even though she went through the difficulty at the beginning, she managed to escape from the woods. When she came to the familiar place, Miss Su collapsed as she panted, crying. She felt so regretful, though she had no idea what made her feel this way. But after this experience, she understood that she was not capable enough to do it herself. She could not make a fortune through this. Miss Su felt very jealous and admired her fifth sister-in-law. No wonder her mother-in-law kept speaking highly of fifth sister-in-law and calling her a lucky star. True, she was indeed a lucky star. She had to admit that she was not destined to be as lucky. Well, she had some savings in hand, and even though they had separated from the big family, the family of 4 would definitely live a good life. Also, some of fifth sister-in-law's earnings would be given to the shared savings too, so when mother-in-law had enough money in her hand, the whole family would have a better life as well. Hence, she decided to leave the money-making job to her fifth sister-in-law. She was sure that fifth sister-in-law would not forget about her whenever she was going to make a fortune. As she thought about this, Miss Su felt slightly comforted. From that moment on, she dropped her strange thoughts. The whole family had no idea what Miss Su had been through. Qiao Xian spent the following days at home, since she was really tired in the past few days of non-stop mountain visits. Xiao Tatao was making the shoe soles, and Qiao Xian helped her. There were no other entertainment things she could do, so she got really bored and decided to kill the time by doing some needlework. Chapter 108. Later in the afternoon, Qiao Xian spent some time on the flower field which was located at the entrance of the village. She had used her superpower to make the trees grow, and now, some already started to bloom. The 30 bee boxes were standing in 3 rows neatly, with numerous bees going in and out, buzzing around. Qiao Xian stopped in front of one gardenia tree that was taller than herself. She looked at the blossoms attached to the twigs, reached out for the trunk and poured in more superpower. Soon, one of the blossoms started to open itself, and gradually, while flowers covered the entire tree. The white, egg-sized flowers were blossoming in an enticing way, covering up the trees and giving off a wonderful scent. Qiao Xian picked several flowers and held them in her hands. Then she put in more superpower, trying to extract the oil from them. She rubbed the flowers, crushed the petals, and instilled her superpower gradually, extracting the water inside and then made it evaporate under the sunshine. It was a difficult process because the superpower wasn't easily controlled. A small distraction might ruin the entire work. Soon, Qiao Xian honed her skill. The crushed petals soon turned brown, and Qiao Xian cast the petals all over the ground. She noticed the water drops at the tip of her finger, which was very small. The scent was very pure and strong. It was the smell of gardenias indeed. It must be the extracted oil from gardenias. Qiao Xian was overjoyed. It seemed that she was going to pay another visit to the town. Some tools needed to be made and jars had to be bought. She needed to have a large white porcelain bowl and pestle for pounding the medicine. The petals could not be pinched by hand. It was much easier to pound them in the bowl first and then refine them later. She was going to buy some sealed bottles made of jadestone for the oil. She was not going to expand the 60 mu of flower field. It would be too obvious. She wasn't afraid of the villagers, but the madam at the mansion. She was going to do something bigger when she grew stronger. But she was going to do something on the sly. She was going to buy good fields directly from the landowners in the town. She could hire some people to take care of the land and did not have to do everything personally. She was not going to expand the flower field for the time being. She could grow all kinds of flowers that she wanted, but if she planted too many flowers, it would cause suspicion. With her superpower, she could make the flowers bloom numerous times on the same field. The superpower would grow stronger the more she practiced it. As Xianxia was mulling over the plan, she saw that the flowers had already attracted many bees. Xianxia smiled. It seemed that they all loved it. She also sensed that her superpower would soon grow stronger and more fragrant. Satisfied, Xianxia left the flower field, locked the door and went home. She had just walked into the yard when she saw Xianxia, Xiao, Xiao Junyan and Xiao Qing feeding ducks and geese. Miss Fong was watching and laughing, standing next to them. They dug some fish and shrimps from the bucket and cast them onto the ground. The ducks and geese were all jostling to get the food. They looked so cute and fresh, and the sight made Junyan and Xiao Qing really happy. Mom. Fifth sister-in-law. Xianxia smiled after greeting them. Where did the ducks come from? Chapter 109 Fish and Shrimp. Her mother-in-law used to think that raising ducks was a waste of food, and it was not worth the while. That was why Xianxia was very surprised to see 20 ducks appearing in the yard. Ms. Fong smiled. Your third brother went to town today, and I asked him to bring the ducks home. Then she pressed down her voice and chuckled with pride. Now we have food for ducks. When they grow bigger, you can just make them into dishes. We can all get a taste of it. Xianxia raised her eyebrows, but then nodded with a smile. That sounds good. I can make many dishes with duck. Mom, just wait to taste the dishes. Xiao Zioki's eyes sparkled. Fifth sister-in-law, what about me buying 2 more large ducks from town in a couple of days, when the market is on? Miss Fong glared at him in amusement. You boy, since when did you pick up your third brother's bad habit? Everyone laughed. Xiaoqi chuckled in embarrassment, scooped a small shrimp from the bucket and cast it onto the ground. Xianxia was brought back to the scene. She said, You went to fetch fish and shrimps from the river? She leaned forward and saw many shrimps, big and small as well as several fish in the bucket. They all looked like delicacies to her. Seeing them chuckling as they fed them to geese and ducks, Xianxia could not help but let out a sigh of concern. Those were all river shrimps and fishes from fresh, unpolluted rivers. They could all turn into delicious dishes. She had paid too much attention to the mountains, ignoring the treasure in the river. There were many fish and shrimps in the river these days. It is such a pity that you are feeding them to the ducks and geese. They can be our food. Xiao Taotao's eyes widened. But fifth sister-in-law, they have a weird taste, we don't like it. Xiaoqi was motivated instead. Fifth sister-in-law, are you able to come up with dishes using shrimps and fish? I can get them home now. Xiao Taotao got the point too. Oh, me do. Fish and shrimps had a weird smell, and villagers did not want to put too much oil into making them, nor did they want to add much wine to drive away the taste. So they believed that those things could not be turned into delicious food. Gradually, people rarely visited the river for fish and shrimps, unless it was a famine. Hence, they just got the fish and shrimp for ducks and chickens. Xianxia nodded and smiled. Of course they can be made into food. There are various kinds of dishes that can be made. Do we have many of these in the river? Let's visit the river and we will make yummy food tonight. Hooray! Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao cheered. They dropped the ducks and geese, and went to fetch a bucket and net, heading towards the river. They had a net at home, which they had no idea when they made it and when they last used it. Xianxia smiled. We can go to the town to buy some fish poles. They should come handy in fishing. However, those things were ordinary tools which might not be available on sale. They could find a carpenter to make some hooks instead. Ms. Fong did not know what she should say. You have so many plans. You are so naughty. Keep your fifth sister-in-law protected, and stay safe. Got it. Xianxia and Xiao answered from a distance away. They came to the riverside, and saw seaweed growing all over the river with slow-flowing water. Chapter 110. Xiaoxian's interest. Xiaoxia took off his shoes, rolled up his trousers and tied them around his waist. He threw the net into the root of the seaweed, gave it a push, and took a step backwards. Finally, the net was cast out. There were numerous, bouncing shrimps in the net as well as 2 finger-sized fish that showed their white bellies immediately. Xiaoxia threw away the leaves and small things out of the net proficiently and gathered up the fish and shrimp, putting them into the bucket. Soon after, Xiaoxian tried to explore the river with her superpower. Her eyes widened after a moment, and she was excited and motivated. There were numerous shrimps, fish and crabs swimming in there. Xiaoxian could see all the fish and shrimps hidden in the seaweeds clearly. However, shrimps and fish were not like those plants in the mountains. They were water animals which were flexible and difficult to catch. Also, what Xiaoxian could see was invisible to Xiaoxia, so they had to make some effort and needed a bit of luck. Xiaoxian felt really sorry to see some large fish swimming away from the net. Let me try. Xiaoxian intended to go into the water, but Xiaoxia and Xiao turned her down directly. Xiaoxian knew that they were worried about her safety, so she had no choice but to drop the idea. Therefore, she helped them, standing on the bank. They were very lucky to have so many wild, fresh fish and shrimps in this era, and with the guidance of Xiaoxian, they managed to catch some fish every now and then. There were already crucian carps the size of 4 fingers, a carp, 3 yellow peppers the size of 2 fingers and several small trash fish the size of 2 or 3 fingers in the bucket. Xiaoxian also made a few attempts, whenever it was within her abilities. However, she could not catch big fish each time from where she stood. So after a while, she only managed to catch 2 large fish. Suddenly, she saw an old turtle that was bigger than her palm, hidden in a crevice under the water. Xiaoxian was overjoyed, and hurriedly booed to remind Xiaoxia and pointed it to him. Xiaoxia nodded and tiptoed there. He bent his back and quickly got the turtle in his hands. What a large turtle! The turtle was fun. Children from the village would always catch one when they were playing or swimming in the river during summer. They often brought it home as a pet, but gradually, the pet would be gone. Xiaoxian asked him to put it into the bucket, smiling. It is really good for soup. Seeing the harvest in the bucket, Xiaoxian smiled. Time to go home. We have enough to eat today, and can come any time we want for more. There were innumerable fish and shrimps in the river. Xiaoxia and Xiao nodded. Xiaoxia went back to the bank and the 3 of them went home together. They worked on the shrimps and fish, and left the remaining in the vat for the time being. The shrimps were dried in the pot, and seasoned with some salt. In this way, they could be stored for 3 days without turning bad. Chives were added to fry with shrimps, and eggs were cracked to make pancakes. They would be either deep-fried or pan-fried. The internal organs of the small fish were removed, wrapped in flour batter, and fried in a pan. It was crispy and delicious. There were still pickles at home, which could be used for dinner at night. Crucian carp, yellow spicy diced, and unknown fish were used to make a big pot of pickles and miscellaneous fish, with a little pepper added to make it sour and a spicy appetizer. Xiaoxian served the fried fish on the plate for Xiaoxia. The fish were small finger-sized, and the bones were already fried. They could be chewed and crushed easily, so even Xiao Junyan and Xiao Qin could eat them. Chapter 111. Rich. The dish of deep-fried fish was eaten up by the 4 of them quickly. Ms. Fong tried it and smiled. Miss Qiao, you know everything. The fish tastes great. Then she added another sentence. Well, you used a lot of oil, right? Xiaoxian smiled. Yes, deep-fried things are delicious, and I can try some more dishes like these in the future. Okay. Ms. Fong smiled. She had plenty of money now, and they could use as much oil as they wanted to. It was fine. Apart from the money Qiao Xian contributed towards the shared savings, Xiao Dalong, Miss Su and Xiao Taotao had also offered some money to her. Miss Fang had almost lost track of the amount, and she felt really confident at the moment. Of course, she was not taking any money from her children for herself. She was actually saving it for their future use. Xiao Sanlang came home too, when Xiao Xian was making dinner. Xiao Sanlang had gone to the town to buy food. With money in his hands, he was really drooling thinking about the dish. He only got time today, since he was helping Qiao Xian plant the day before. Xiao Sanlang was also very confident, with money in his hands. He went to the town-famous restaurant Yanhe, and bought braised chickens, fish, deep-fried meat and steamed ducks. Xiao Sanlang was very satisfied by the delicious dishes. He had been to the town before, and he was salivating over the smell that came out of the restaurant whenever he passed by. He had sworn in his heart that he was definitely going to save enough money to treat himself to the dishes of this restaurant. The belief was so firm that he could not get rid of it. Therefore, the moment he got money, he came to visit this place directly. It was indeed a great place. Each dish was delicious. No wonder they were sold at such a high price. But after one meal, he lost his motivation. He made a careful comparison, and found that fifth sister-in-law's cooking skills were not worse than the dishes served here, and she could even make better food, sometimes. Therefore, he was going to buy raw meat and take it home. He would ask his fifth sister-in-law to make the dishes instead. But he had not expected that fifth sister-in-law would be able to cook fish, since it was never easy to make it, and only restaurants would normally serve good fish dishes. Xiao Sanlang kept half duck and chicken untouched, and he asked the waiter to wrap it up with leaves and have it covered by a layer of yellow paper. Xiao Sanlang left the restaurant in satisfaction. He bought 2 more roast chickens, 5 or 6 kinds of snacks from the Lanhua dim sum shop, and bought melon seeds, peanuts, preserved apricots, dried jujubes, preserved peaches, dried plums and other snacks at the Guiji roasted goods shop. It was a big bag full of stuff before he went to buy the ducks. Xiao Sanlang did not let his mother know about how much food he had bought. He was worried that his mother would blame him for wasting money. He delivered the ducks home and gave Xiao Junyan and his sister 2 bags of snacks. He put down the roast chicken in the kitchen as well as a slice of pork belly, before dashing off. He was going to take the snacks he had bought to Yang Xiaoni. He was going to share it with his future wife. Yang Xiaoni was still out doing work. In this way, she was able to stay out of her brother's home and avoid seeing them and getting annoyed. Xiao Sanlang found her soon. Caught by Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian, the 2 of them learned to hide themselves in the forest. Perched up in the mountain, they could see what was going on in all directions, so they could know instantly when someone was nearby. Chapter 112 Foodies. Xiao Sanlang brought out all kinds of snacks and Yang Xiaoni's eyes started to sparkle. Brother Sanlang, you treat me so well. Wow, the chicken leg and duck leg seems so tasty. Yang Xiaoni kept eating the chicken leg and duck leg, feeling really satisfied. Xiao Sanlang chuckled. Tasty, right? I saved all of these for you. Yes, they are delicious. Yang Xiaoni nodded and took 1 bite on the chicken leg and passed it to Xiao Sanlang. Please, Brother Sanlang, you eat some too. Xiao Sanlang was also drooling for the chicken leg, but he thought of the food he was able to eat whilst Yang Xiaoni had to suffer a great deal for almost half a month. So Xiao Sanlang swallowed his saliva and shook his head, smiling. I am okay, I am full. You can just eat it all. Okay. Yang Xiaoni did not show any more generosity, seeing that he turned her down. She soon finished 2 legs, and some pieces of meat. Then she wrapped up the meat and smiled. I will eat the remaining later. Xiao Sanlang pulled out all the other snacks, like melon seeds or peanuts. Xiaoni, I bought them myself, let's eat them together. Yang Xiaoni's eyes were bright as she cheered in happiness. Ah, you are so nice. We have so much food to eat, that is great. Xiao Sanlang was excited as well. He nodded. Yes, these are all ours. They started to feast out in the wild. They tried every dish and discussed it enthusiastically. When they were full, they started to eat melon seeds and peanuts. "Oh yes, Brother Sanling, where did you get the money for all this?" Yang Xiaoni asked. Yang Xiaoni really did not think of this before, did she? Xiao Sanlang said proudly, "Don't worry, I get paid for my work, good money. I still have some savings. We will buy a lot of other good food when you marry me. Oh, by the way, you know about my fifth sister-in-law? She is such a good cook. You will realize it when you come to live with us." Yang Xiaoni looked really excited and smiled brightly. Xiao Sanlang added, "What about me giving you 2 liang, so you can go and buy some dresses and anything else you want? We can talk about this later." Yang Xiaoni pursued, "It is not long before I can marry you, so it is fine. If my brother knows about the money in my hand, he will steal it." Xiao Sanlang snapped angrily. "Yang Liang and his wife are terrible. You will not be with them for much longer." Of course. Married sister would never need to care about her brother or sister. Xiao Sanlang spent half a day with his future wife. They spent some time chatting after eating. Xiao Sanlang gave the remaining food to Yang Xiaoni before he left reluctantly. Yang Xiaoni finished the food and hid the snacks. She tucked them over her bed when she returned to third Grandma Yang's home. She did not share them with third Grandma Yang and her family either, otherwise it would be too annoying since she could not tell them where she got them from. Since she was full, Yang Xiaoni did not return to her brother's home for dinner. She did not go back to make dinner either. Miss Tian was so annoyed that she kept cursing Yang Xiaoni for being lazy and ungrateful. The four of them finished all the food without leaving anything for Yang Xiaoni. Chapter 113 Sweet Barberries. It was a bustling scene in the first section of the Xiao family. The dishes served that evening included small river shrimp stir-fried with leeks, pickled cabbage and miscellaneous fish pot, sweet and sour carp, which were all paired with 2 vegetarian dishes. It was a table full of color, aroma, and taste. The whole family was curious about the new way the fish had been cooked. They believed that Qiao Xian was skilled at it, and did not hesitate to pick up their chopsticks. Everyone spoke highly of the dishes. Xiao Junyan and Xiao Qing loved sweet and sour carp best. Qiao Xian had made them a small portion of shrimp with steamed egg. The adults loved every dish. Eldest uncle said happily, "The fish is really tasty, Miss Qiao. You can tell the method to your second aunt-in-law and third aunt-in-law, so they could make some and have a taste of it." They could not afford to buy meat, but there were many fish and shrimps in the river. Elder uncle's concern for the second section of the family and third section of the family was already deep inside his head, and he subconsciously thought of them in every aspect. Qiao Xian, as well as everyone else in the first section of the family, already lost interest in countering those words. She presented the way of how the dishes were made with a smile. She even added many extra steps to how the dishes were made. Hearing that so much oil was needed, and wine for pickling and salt and seasonings, eldest uncle no longer had the motivation of telling the second and the third section of the family about it. They would not be able to make the dishes in this way at all. No wonder the dishes were tasty. They consisted of many condiments. He did not dare to ask his daughter-in-law to share the dishes, because all of these were bought with his daughter-in-law's dowry money. Miss Fong threw a satisfied look at Qiao Xian, smiling happily. Soon it was the 3rd day of May. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. They were discussing how they should celebrate the Dragon Boat Festival. Xiao Yunduan and Qiao Xian planned to visit the town, whilst Miss Fong was making preparations for glutinous rice dumplings. The leaves and the glutinous rice were all well prepared. They normally made a few glutinous rice dumplings to celebrate the festival in the past and made some eggs for the children. But they had a lot of money this year, so they decided to make it big. Qiao Xian became interested in making glutinous rice dumplings as well. One day before the festival, Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan went into the town to buy meat, ribs as well as the seasonings for the meat. They sliced the pork belly and put the rib in seasoning sauce for the dumplings the following day. In addition to pork belly chestnut dumplings, there were pork belly mushroom dumplings, pork ribs dumplings, and some red bean candy jujube dumplings, 8 treasure dumplings, and alkaline water dumplings, which they stored for half a month after cooking. In previous years, The Dragon Boat Festival was filled with alkaline water dumplings and bean dumplings. At most, a little chestnut was added, but meat dumplings were never made, so everyone was looking forward to it. Xianxia felt a bit regretful. She should have pickled some salted duck egg for salted yolk dumplings. She started to miss salted eggs. Well, she could buy some to make them herself. On the 3rd day of May, Miss Qiao went into the mountains to pick the leaves. Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xiaoqi as well as Xiao Taotao went into the mountains to hunt. They decided to bring some wild animals back for the festival. They were also seeking fresh mushrooms for the dumplings. They were lucky enough to get wild roosters, wild rabbits, mushrooms and yams. On a large barberry tree, they saw the large-sized fruits hanging. Xiaoxian held her hands against the trunk, casting the superpower without disclosing much. Xiao Xiaoqi climbed up onto the tree, picked one and put it into his mouth. His eyes sparkled. "It is so sweet." He picked a large bunch of it and said, "Fifth brother, fifth sister-in-law, try these." Chapter 114 Rules. Qiao Xian smiled and started to think. Of course they were sweet. She had used her superpower to make them so. The 3 of them nodded in agreement. The fruits were really sweet. "It is rare to have such sweet barberries, let's take them home." So, they filled up half of the basket with barberries. Everyone in the family nodded and spoke highly of the sweet fruits, which they had brought home in a large quantity. Miss Fang asked Xiao Xiaoqi to lead the way again, so Xiao Deng, Miss Su and Xiao Sanlang could all go to carry the barberries home for drying and winemaking. The following day, Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian went into the town for meat. They inquired about the landowner. They visited the landowner and decided to buy some land from him. Xiao Xian did not want to buy sporadic fields. She expected to buy patches and lots of fields. She could buy good fields as well as dry fields close to the water fields too. "I will come to the town 3 times a month. Remember to select the fields for me. I will pay well." The landowner agreed but added a caveat. "I can't find one very fast. We have to wait." Xiao Xian was aware of this too and nodded. Honestly, no households would sell water fields easily these days, because water fields were the source of their food, water and earnings. Only those who splurged or had no other way out would sell their water fields. Once water fields were sold, not everyone was able to buy them. There were rules inside. When someone in a clan intended to sell the water fields, those from the same clan got the priority to buy them, and if those from the same clan did not want them, then the outsiders would be the next choice. Even the outsiders were divided into different categories. For example, if someone from the Xiao family wanted to sell fields and no one from the Xiao family wanted to buy them, then it would be the Ding family who had the right next. If the Ding family did not want to buy them, then the other families from the village were allowed to buy them. When no one from the above-mentioned families wanted to buy them, then it would be the other villagers' turn. Also, cultivated talent and advanced scholar would have the rights to buy the fields first, before the remaining ones could do so. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. To sum it up, it was a long queue. Therefore, if Qiao Xian wanted to buy good fields from other villages, then she needed to have, to put it simply, good luck. But Qiao Xian was not in a hurry. What she wanted to do was to wait quietly. She wanted the fields, not for the income, but for her fundamental competence and capital. She wanted to have control over more resources. When this conversation was done, Qiao Xian went to fetch some stuff from the craftsman, such as essences and other things. The molds and tubes for lipsticks were already made, including 12 sets of molds and 600 tubes. She paid the remaining amount and took them home, whilst booking another batch of tubes. When she was done with shopping, the 2 of them returned to the village. The moment they arrived home, Xiao Taotao, who was taking care of the babies at home, told them that Ms. Fang and Ms. Su as well as Xiao Deng went to Widow Sun's home due to some trouble. Startled, they hurried there. There were many people gathered at Widow Sun's door, which was noisy and messy. Ms. Fang's cursing sound as well as Widow Sun's sneer could be heard from a distance away. Then came Widow Sun's loud scream. "How dare you!" The 2 women must have gotten into a fight. Both of them were startled. As the couple arrived, Widow Sun was under Ms. Fang, being beaten and crying loudly. Ms. Su was really surprised as she stood next to them. Widow Sun's daughter Ding Qingqing went up to help Widow Sun, but Ms. Fang, who was really furious, started to beat the daughter as well. The mother and daughter were in a disadvantageous position. Chapter 115a Fight. Xiao Dalong and Xiao Xiaoqi intended to separate them, but they were scared. Widow Sun wasn't a gentle woman. What if the touched Widow Sun? Things would get complicated. The most troublesome was Ding Qingqing, who was a girl and should not be touched randomly. They were panicking. Qiao Xian screamed, "Mom!" Then she went up, took hold of Ding Qingqing's wrist, who was about to scratch Ms. Fang's face. She dragged her away as she turned to Ms. Su. "Help us, sister-in-law." She was not a strong woman, while Ding Qingqing was quite strong. She wasn't able to drag her away alone. Only now did Ms. Su bring back to herself. She went up and helped. Both of them dragged away Ding Qingqing, who was screaming and shouting. When Ding Qingqing was dragged away, Ms. Fang slapped Widow Sun's face 2 times. Xiao Yunduan and his brother helped Ms. Fang stand up on her feet. "Mom, what is going on?" Widow Sun decided not to get up. She remained on the ground, crying and cursing. "They are such shameless people. They are bullying a widow like me. I want to die, I want to die." She was already in bad shape, with unkempt hair and red prints on her face and neck. Tears were running down her cheeks, whilst her nose was runny. She looked horrible. Ms. Fang spat and cursed. "You shameless bitch. How dare you spread rumors about me? You are a widow, so what? How dare you cry when you spread rumors around? You are the shameless one. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site." Thanks. Ms. Fang started to tell the story in anger. It was a long tale. The first section of the Xiao family had brought many mushrooms home, and the villagers, who saw that they had no problem eating mushrooms from the mountains, also went to the mountains to fetch mushrooms. They got some from the Xiao family first and decided to find the right ones. Ms. Fang gave them generously to those who came to the door. But there were so many mushrooms in the mountains, and they were open to everyone in the village. They could never get enough of them. Even the second section of the family and the third section of the family went to find some mushrooms. But they did not want to put much seasoning inside the food, so they did not think they were tasty, thus dropping the idea. They even laughed at the first section of the family for eating horrible things like these. However, all went well until some family got poisoned by the mushrooms from the mountains. Luckily, it wasn't highly poisonous, and they didn't eat too much. The family had abdominal pain, vomiting, and bile came out. After tossing all night, they drank a few large bowls of mung bean soup before getting better. After that, the villagers were too frightened to find mushrooms or try new things. However, Widow Sun kept spreading rumors around the village, saying that it was the first section of the Xiao family who set them up. But for her mushrooms, no one would have got poisoned. So the Xiao family should take responsibility. There had already been many people who were jealous of the Xiao family, and they believed that what Widow Sun said was true. So, they started to complain about the Xiao family. It was true, but for them, no one would have eaten the mushrooms in the mountains. Therefore it was their fault. The affected family also wanted to get some compensation from the Xiao family. Chapter 116 Reason they had a rich daughter-in-law, didn't they? They must be having a lot of money. That was how those terrible rumors went about. They had not dared to spread the rumor at the beginning, but Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma joined the group, which emboldened them. When Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma failed to take advantage of the first section of the family, they found that Ms. Fang had found her supporter, namely her daughter-in-law. Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma were very annoyed. With this opportunity in hand, they started to make a big noise. They were not defending the Xiao family at all. Therefore, when the villagers found that the 2 women from the Xiao family were spreading rumors, the others started to spread even worse and wilder rumors. Ms. Fang's friends passed on the message to Ms. Fang. Ms. Fang was so annoyed. So, she went about in the village and cursed at anyone who said those things to her. After all, she had to catch them right on the spot. She could not just let the rumor spread. Otherwise, it would be her family which would look bad. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. Right then, She happened to catch Widow Sun, who was the main culprit behind the rumor. Ms. Fong and Widow Sun had never liked each other, and at this moment, she was taking revenge for all the past doings. Ms. Fong gave Widow Sun, who was in the middle of making a false claim, a push, and then they started to shout at each other and fight. Ms. Fong glanced about and shouted at Widow Sunday, "Are you so stupid? There are many poisonous mushrooms in the mountains, and everyone knows that. We pick mushrooms for ourselves. Who has the say to stop us? No one has set the rules for picking mushrooms in the mountains. It has nothing to do with our family whether others want to get them or not. It's not that people in our family are forcing someone to go up the mountain to harvest. Miss Sun, you slanted mouth, slanted eyes, black heart and liver, a bad stomach woman. Why did you say that Ding Dania's family got into trouble because of us? Should our family be responsible for compensation? If you don't tell me a reason today, I will tear your stinky mouth apart." Only now did Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian understand what was going on. "How ridiculous!" Xiao Yunduan said coldly. "Mom, don't worry, everyone with a wise head would understand what is going on. They won't find the ridiculous thing worth the while." Xiao Xian laughed and said in a mocking tone, "Auntie Sun, it is your fault. You are trying to cause trouble between our family and Ding Daniu. We never offended you before, did we? We eat mushrooms, wild plants and fish and shrimps. We can eat whatever we want. No one can dictate what to do to us, right? We are all adults and we are not stupid, we know what the reason is. You are so silly to have caused the conflict between us." All the villagers nodded. Some felt guilty and anxious, some were reasonable. True. The matter has nothing to do with the Xiao family. True, they never forced you to eat the mushrooms. Ms. Fong sneered. Do you think that she had a brain? If she did, she wouldn't have done something like this. You bitch, stop pretending to be dead. Speak. Here is the stage for you. Chapter 117 Louder cries, "How dare you call me a bully? I can scold you and hit you as much as I want. You have no right to complain about others when you are being a bitch." Ms. Fong glared at Widow Sun and intended to kick her. Widow Sun was also good at being rude. But she had no way out when she ran into someone like Ms. Fong. She was worried about the strength of the Xiao family, and Ms. Fong even had a cultivated talent as a son and county magistrate's daughter as the daughter-in-law, so she did not dare to say a thing but started to sob. Disdainfully, Ms. Fong said, "Shame on you. You think people would find you pitiful and feel sorry for you because you are crying?" Widow Sun cried even more loudly. She was ashamed, angry, and was holding a grudge. But Ms. Fong did not care. She did not intend to let her go so easily. It was never easy to get rid of the sin of spreading rumors. If she was too nice, they would continue to bully her. So, she could not stand being at the center of the rumor. Forced, Widow Sun could not help but collapse. "Why are you only targeting me? Everyone is spreading rumors about you. Why do you cling to me?" Xiao Xian laughed. How stupid could this woman be? She had just betrayed her accomplices. She added, "But my mother-in-law only heard the rumor from you, so it is your fault. You are still trying to cause conflicts between us and everyone else. You must not spread any more rumors, for the sake of morality." All the villagers agreed and started to complain about Widow Sunday. True. She spreads rumors about everyone. How immoral. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, bad woman. Don't talk nonsense when you have no evidence. Widow Sun was so angry at the moment. Ms. Fong goaded her with a sly smile. True. Otherwise, you can just tell me who is spreading the rumor. Widow Sun did not dare to spill any names in case she offended others. She even regretted having shouted that out loud a while ago. She was feeling so messy inside her head. As she was just in the middle of the mess, Xiao Xian forced her. No telling? Then you are the one creating rumors about everyone. I never knew there was anyone like this in our village. Annoyed, Widow Sun screamed. It is Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma who did it. They did it, yes they did it. What? Ms. Fong was startled, so was everyone else. It is Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma. Widow Sun sneered as she calmed down. She had just revealed Ms. Fang's sisters-in-law to see what could Ms. Fang do about it now. But for these two women, she would not have been caught red-handed by Ms. Fang today. Widow Sun thought angrily that Ms. Fang could go to them for justice if she dared. Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma both said that you have a rich daughter-in-law, so you pushed away your own family. You are selfish and self-centered, and you must be setting up the trap for the villagers to fetch the mushrooms in the mountains. You have to pay for the consequences. They even said that the first section of the family look kind, but they are actually very greedy. They try to rob their daughter-in-law's dowry, whilst the daughter-in-law is a stupid woman who has been tricked but still treats you well. How funny. Chapter 118. Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma. Widow Sun decided to spill everything in one go, be it real or false. You goddamn bitch. Ms. Fang was about to beat Widow Sun out of anger, before she finished her words. Ding Qingqing screamed as she held Widow Sun in her arms. Mom! Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan stopped Ms. Fang directly. Qiao Xian said gently, Mom, these words are ridiculous. Widow Sun is used to causing conflicts between people, and now they are trying to separate our family. I am not stupid. I can tell who treats me well and who doesn't. How ridiculous. I am not lying. It was Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma who said it. Hey you two, don't you dare run away. Widow Sun screamed at the top of her voice, as she saw Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma among the crowd. The crowd turned to the direction she was pointing towards. The villagers around Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma retreated backwards subconsciously, so the two women stood out directly. You too. Ms. Fang glared at them too, looking really furious. With teeth clenched, she asked word by word. Is Widow Sun speaking the truth? I, God and Buddha in heaven, anyone who dares to lie will bring bad luck to the whole family. I can swear to God that I did not lie. Do you dare to? Widow Sun, who had successfully switched the conflict, decided to put all the blame to the two women. Before they said anything, she screamed and stopped them with her poisonous oath. You are just talking nonsense. Widow Sun sneered. I am not lying. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, it was time for her to feel proud. She was going to see how the three of them fought with each other. Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma were dumbfounded. They could definitely counter her, but Widow Sun's vow was too fierce for them to cook up any lies. Actually, Ms. Fang knew that the two sisters-in-law of hers were spreading rumors, except the one about dowry. These two sisters-in-law of hers dared to say everything. They were so used to taking advantage of the first section of the family that they got angry when they found that they were no longer able to take advantage of them. It was as if the first section of the family owed them something big. That was why they vented their anger in this manner. It was so humiliating when they spat out the family affairs to the whole village. But she had no other way out, now when Widow Sun put it out in front of everyone. You are really nice, aren't you? Ms. Fang sneered. Ms. Niu explained. This is what the villagers say. I was just making some comments. Also, but for you, why would anyone go and pick the mushrooms? It is your fault. Did I force you to pick the mushrooms? Ms. Niu snorted. If you hadn't picked the mushrooms, no one else would have done the same, Xiao Xian chuckled. We aren't stupid, are we? Don't we have the ability to choose what to do and what not to do? Are you all going to follow our steps? Ms. Qiao is right. I address you as my sister-in-law and we have always offered so much help to your family. But you are making complaints behind our backs. That is so hurtful. Henceforth, we are not just separate sections of the family, we will live separately too. Don't come to our door whenever you feel like it from now onwards. Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma looked timid, unconvinced, yet they did not dare to utter a sound. Chapter 119. Daughter-in-law. There was no need to conceal anything when the affair was already revealed to the whole village. Ms. Fang added, You think that I am coaxing my daughter-in-law for her dowry? Have you personally witnessed that? Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma became even more furious. Ms. Ma said, After Ms. Qiao becomes part of your family, you always have new clothes to wear, meat to eat, and wagons full of stuff. They are all bought by Ms. Qiao. That is true. Xianxia smiled. I can do whatever I want with my dowry. Mom treats me well, and I love to buy those for her. So what? If you don't feel that is fair, you can get a good daughter-in-law for yourself as well. Everyone started to laugh. After that, everyone felt jealous as well. Ms. Fong was so lucky as to get a daughter-in-law like that. She was the ideal one. Xiao Yunduan could not help but turn to Xiaoxian. Excitement arose in his eyes, and he could not help but feel gentle towards this woman next to him. You, Ms. Ma almost wanted to spill blood out of anger. You ungrateful girl. I am doing this for your sake. You have been tricked. Just see what will happen when you lose all your dowry. That is not your business anymore. Xiaoxian smiled. I can earn money when I run out of my dowry. Moreover, I have my husband with me, right? Startled, Ms. Ma suddenly realized that Xiao Yunduan had already become a cultivated talent. He had a promising future ahead. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks no, that was not possible. Xiao Yunduan must have had dumb luck to have become a cultivated talent. It was because Lu Lang had gotten sick and he took his position. He was definitely not going to have a promising future. Lu Lang had said that Xiao Yunduan was never good at studies, and the teacher never spoke highly of him. It must have been the ancestral blessings that helped him obtain this position, and he was never going to make it to the next level. Ms. Ma could not help but say angrily, when she thought of how her son had not even made any progress in studies. You can never know what is going to happen in the future. Maybe, despite what she was thinking, she did not dare say anything bad about Xiao Yunduan, in case Ms. Fong tore her apart and their elder brother would also give up helping them either. Therefore, she had to put it in an implicit way, indicating that it was Xiaoxian who was not clear-minded enough. Xiaoxian smiled even more freely. Yet again, it is not your business, second aunt-in-law. I am so happy to have a mother-in-law like this, who is like no one else, who might even cause me to lose my dowry. Villagers burst into laughter. Everyone present understood what Xiaoxian was saying, and she was right. Those were true words. You. Ms. Meng got so annoyed. Ms. Fong was no longer as angry as before when she heard what Xiaoxian said. She felt proud to have a daughter-in-law like this, who was helping them make a fortune and even managed to keep peace in the family. Suddenly, Ms. Fong did not feel like going any further with Ms. Niu or Ms. Ma. They were just jealous of her. The more jealous they were, the better life they would live. That was the biggest revenge she could take on them. She was going to make them even angrier. Good girl, I know you are the best. You are our lucky star, and you have brought a great fortune to our family. You will get better and better. These jealous ones can wait and see, right? Chapter 120. Fight on. Ms. Fong glanced at Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma, snorting. I can tell that you never treated us well, since you have spread rumors such about us. In that case, we will not hang out so often. How shameless you are to have paid this kind of respect to us, who helped you before. Just try to save some face for yourself. Ms. Fong snapped at Widow Sunday. You bitch, keep your mouth shut. If I hear anything more about this matter, I will tear your mouth apart. Let's leave. Ms. Fong left with her sons and daughters-in-law happily and proudly. Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma glared at Widow Sun and left in embarrassment. Widow Sun cursed out loud for a bit and then went home with her daughter. Back at home, Ms. Fong let out a sigh of relief and said with a cold face, just listen carefully, don't you show a smile to the second section of the family and third section of the family anymore. They are such ungrateful people. I will never share any food with them in the future. How dare they try to take advantage of me? Xiaoxian tried to console Ms. Fong, and distracted her by discussing the preparation of festivals. Xiao Yunduan tried to speak with Xiaoxian, but then decided not to. Xiaoxian leaned forward and asked him with a smile. Anything you want to say, darling? Xiao Yunduan. She was calling him darling so naturally. It sounded really nice. Don't be mad about what was being discussed about your dowry. What? I am not. Xiaoxian smiled. My dowry is not valuable. Anyways, I am prosperous now. And we will get wealthier in the future, won't we? Xiao Yunduan smiled and nodded with the load going off his heart. True. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, Qiao Xin smiled. If I am not as wealthy in the future, I will turn to you for money. You have to create some wealth too. Xiao Yunduan could not help but feel his heart throbbing. As he saw her sparkling and black, large eyes, he nodded. Of course, my earnings are all yours. I need to study now, I am going now. He tried to calm himself down as he left, making Qiao Xian chuckle. Fight on, darling. Xiao Yunduan almost tripped over. In the afternoon, when eldest uncle returned home, he looked very happy. He said with a smile, I just ran into my brothers. They said that we can celebrate the festival together tomorrow. We are eating at second brother's home tomorrow night, all of us. What? Ms. Fong was startled. Eldest uncle seemed to show off when he walked in, speaking loudly. Both Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan heard him, and everyone was really surprised. Xiao Sanlang responded with a sneer. Dad, are you sure? You couldn't have heard it wrong, could you? It is such a rare event that second uncle invited us. During the past few years, the 3 sections of the family gathered for dinner at the first section of the family, and it had always been the first section who treated them all. The other sections had never offered even a single grain of rice. Sometimes they even complained about the size of the chickens, which were not enough for them. It was so surprising that the second section of the family would offer to treat them to dinner. What are you talking about? You should be careful with your words, you bridegroom-to-be. Eldest uncle glared at Xiao Sanlang angrily and then said with a smile, I told you that they are not that stingy. They are treating us to dinner. Chapter 121 Bad People, Ms. Fong, he is really treating us to dinner, and he also said that we can just go there without bringing anything over. They are so kind. Don't say anything bad about them anymore, okay? Eldest uncle was so emotional when he spoke. This was exactly what he had been looking forward to. The whole family was in harmony and no one was taking advantage of each other. It was so nice. Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan exchanged a look and understood why the second section of the family was suddenly asking them to eat dinner together. Qiao Xian pursed her lips and whispered, I am not going, it is really dangerous. Xiao Yunduan said, Don't worry, Mom won't. Before Xiao Yunduan finished his words, Ms. Fong snorted and said harshly, You can go there if you want to. Ask your children if they want to? I am not going though, I don't want to die there. What are you talking about? Eldest uncle was surprised. He was so disappointed and felt as if cold water had been poured over his head. He shared this good news as soon as he walked in. He was in a hurry to highlight that his brothers were actually nice. He had not expected that Ms. Fong would react like this. You must go. You said that they were stingy, but now you don't want to go when they are inviting us to dinner. You are such a piece of work. Eldest uncle was really displeased. Dad, you don't know what happened today? I guess that is why second uncle wants to treat us to dinner. We better not go there, said Xiao Yunduan. Eldest uncle was surprised. What happened? Ms. Fong sneered and narrated the whole story. She had intended to tell eldest uncle about what happened today, irrespective of whether there was any invitation for dinner. She had gone through the story numerous times in her heart, so she finished the tale smoothly and fast. Eldest uncle. He was totally dumbfounded. He felt that the head was buzzing. Before he was able to think about it, he spilled out. That can't be possible. Is there a misunderstanding? A misunderstanding? Ms. Fang's voice arose as she said angrily, The whole village heard them, and they admitted it in front of the whole village. Now you are saying that it is a misunderstanding? In your eyes, everyone else is nice but me, right? I am a bad woman, am I? No, that is not what I mean. It is just, eldest uncle could not utter a word. He felt so messed up in his heart. How could that be possible? How could they do something so hurtful? Ms. Fong answered coldly. From today onwards, I am not going to get involved with them. Moreover, they are never going to get anything from me. I would rather throw everything in the water than share it with them. Eldest uncle opened his mouth but said nothing. But later in the evening, second uncle and third uncle came over, reminding them about the dinner. Eldest uncle was at a loss. He had no idea how to turn them down. He had never refused them before either. He was about to agree subconsciously. Miss Fong turned them down directly. "We have food at home. We will not be going over to your place. I can't afford to eat at your house ever." Chapter 122. Elder sister-in-law second uncle was not so confident anymore. He smiled and coaxed her. "What are you talking about, elder sister-in-law? We are a family. We live separately." Ms. Fong sneered. "No one in our family is like this." Countered by Ms. Fong, second uncle could not hold the pleasant expression anymore. He snapped angrily. "Elder sister-in-law, what are you talking about? We all make mistakes. Ms. Niu has learned from her mistake and she is going to correct herself in the future. We are expressing our regret through dinner tomorrow night. You can't just ignore our sincerity." "True," third uncle added. "Ms. Ma is apologetic about her mistake as well. She is not going to make the same mistake ever again. She likes to spread rumors, but she is not a bad person. Same goes for Ms. Niu. Elder brother, just talk to elder sister-in-law. We are a family, and we will become a laughing stock for others around us if we are not in a harmonious relationship." "True, elder brother." Both second uncle and third uncle understood clearly what the eldest uncle wanted. They knew how to make him feel soft-hearted. They kept installing ideas into eldest uncle by saying sorry and how terribly they had behaved. Eventually, eldest uncle sighed. "Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma spread too much gossip. You have to watch out for them so that they won't make the same mistake again. I can drop it this time, but I will tear their mouths apart if it happens ever again." Ms. Fong snorted. "But we are not going to have dinner with you. We are siblings, but we need to have a clear account. We have our own children and grandchildren, and we should keep the matters separated clearly. We are not taking advantage of your families, and you should never take advantage of us, either. Not ever. We are going to live separately." Second uncle's and third uncle's faces changed. "Elder sister-in-law, you are still blaming us?" Ms. Fong replied. "Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma hurt us so badly, why can't I remember this matter?" Ms. Fong did not want to ignore that, no matter what second uncle and third uncle said. She was still being reasonable by being polite. But if she gave in any further, it would be much harder for her to defend herself in the future. The second section of the family and third section of the family were trying to set her up. Their behavior was so annoying, especially when it came to the rumor that she was trying to get daughter-in-law's dowry. Ms. Fong had been a strong woman all her life. She just could not stand this accusation. Both Xiao Delong and Xiao Yunduan were silent. They were apparently taking Ms. Fang's side. Eldest uncle intended to say something, but he had no one behind his back. Second uncle and third uncle left the first section of the family with sunk faces. How difficult it is to pursue a narrow-minded woman like this. Just drop it for now. We can talk about it in the future. Despite the anger, the two men did not think that Ms. Fong would stick to that attitude throughout her life. They had a long way ahead of them. When the two uncles left the first section of the family, everyone at home went down to their own business. They behaved normally, as if what had just happened was not so important, and as if no one cared about that. Eldest uncle felt weird inside his heart. He tried to talk it through so that he could offer his brothers a chance of correcting their mistake. But he did not get that chance. When the two uncles returned to their home, they blamed their wives for letting the rumor be heard by Ms. Fong. She is the type who takes revenge, got it? Now she has this issue in her hands. With this, she can do whatever she wants in the future. Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma were very annoyed as well. They did not mean to let the rumor spread. It was just a small talk. But for some reason, it sounded really big and bad in front of others. Ms. Fong must have done it on purpose. Also, Widow Sun was the main culprit. But for her big mouth, nothing like this would have happened. That bitch was definitely going to be disciplined. Chapter 123 Shameless. On other hand, when Ding Qingqing and Widow Sun rushed home, they hugged each other and cried loudly. Widow Sun was so annoyed. She kept cursing behind the door, whilst Ding Qingqing continued to cry. The mother and daughter were living alone, so they felt isolated, in fights and arguments. Mom, just don't get involved with those women who gossip, Ding Qingqing suggested. She felt so ashamed about what happened to them today. But Widow Sun, who was feeling annoyed, got further angry when hearing what Ding Qingqing said. She gave Ding Qingqing a poke on the head. You are terrible as a daughter. I am doing all this for you. Otherwise, what am I doing in this broken village? Ding Qingqing got so upset that she shed tears. She just could not understand why this was for her sake. Widow Sun could not stop when she started to curse. You must be dreaming about Xiao Yunduan, aren't you? He is already married, so what are you fantasizing about him for? He is a cultivated talent, but he is never going to make it further than that. Ding Qingqing could not help but cry harder. No! You know that he is already married. What more can I do? You look down at cultivated talent, but who can be better than him? Ding Qingqing sobbed and went into the room, shutting the door behind. She really liked Xiao Yunduan. She had liked him since she was little. He was different from the other men in the village. He was quiet and clean, good-looking as well. She knew that he was a class apart. Look at what he had achieved. He became a cultivated talent at such a young age. But her mother did not like Miss Fang, and when she mentioned that she wanted to marry him, her mother disapproved of it. When he made it to the cultivated talent level, she got so happy that she wanted to share this with her mother, and maybe her mother would change her mind. But before she was able to share the idea with her mother, he got engaged and soon married the daughter of the county magistrate. She spent the whole night crying in her blanket on his wedding day. She had no hope to be with him anymore. After that, she barely went out and she almost never saw him. Unexpectedly, they met under such circumstances. She got so nervous upon seeing him, but she felt even sadder. His wife was born in a rich family. How could she have compared to her? Also, her mother had such a row with his mother. The more she thought about this, the sadder Ding Qingqing felt. It was a dark night. Silence dominated the whole village. Everyone had gone to bed. A black silhouette came to Widow Sun's doorstep, glanced about and gave a push to the door. He flashed inside and chained the door from inside. After they had a good time together, Widow Sun leaned in his arms, speaking through clenched teeth. Miss Fang is horrible. You have to help me. The man hesitated but then consoled her. She is a bitch, what are you stuck with her for? I am here to be with you. You said that you need a silver hairpin. I've got it here with me today. Widow Sun was overjoyed, but still felt quite upset. No, that is not enough. Are you afraid of them? Of course not. Then take revenge for me, otherwise I will not feel better inside my heart. Chapter 124 Chance. As the proverb goes, the county magistrate isn't that useful. Even if they have a daughter of the county magistrate and a cultivated talent, so what? You will always have the chance to bring them down. You can destroy them all, and they would not be able to do anything about it. The man frowned even more deeply and turned impatient. Seeing that she did not want to give up the topic, the man said with a smile, Okay, I promise you that I will teach them a lesson whenever I have the chance. You have to find the chance. Okay, baby, let's just drop this topic, we can just... What? Oh, it was the Dragon Boat Festival. Early in the morning, Xiao and Xiao Yunduan went out together. They went to watch the boat race in the county. Xianxia and Xiao Taotao were excited and would have liked to follow along but Ms. Fang turned them down ruthlessly. There were too many people at the race. Xiao Yunduan and Xiao would not be able to take care of them. What if something happened to them? The brother and sister did not insist either. Xiao Yunduan and Xiao took the bullock cart and went to the Yunshui River located in the south of the town. The Yunshui River was a major river and it was flowing across the whole town. The race was taking place on the broad side of the river, which was the best position for the race. There was nice scenery around, and people often came here to ride horses and have fun, especially in spring. When the two of them arrived, there were already many people on both sides of the riverbank. It was bustling and people were well-dressed. They started to talk and cheer around, making comments. It was the first time for Xiao to experience such a bustling scene. She got really excited to be here. Her eyes were large and sparkling. She looked around curiously. Although there was no other entertainment in this era, the nature was pure and green, and she felt so happy to see all of this. Looking at her enthusiasm, Xiao Yunduan subconsciously slowed down and gave her a tour around, whilst thinking inside his heart, what a pitiful girl. She must have never been out in the town till now. After a while, the two of them were united with those from the school. Apart from Xiao Yunduan, some of the fellows also had their family members with them and they greeted each other. Xiao Xian looked very pretty and behaved amicably. She stood out among everyone else, who knew about her background. So, they sized her up curiously and glanced at her on the sly. Most of them could not help but feel jealous and envious of Xiao Yunduan. Honestly, Madame Qiao and County Magistrate Qiao had never revealed what Xiao Xian had been through before she got married. After all, it was related to their reputation. Therefore, all they knew about her was that she had a noble background. Xiao Lulang felt even worse inside his heart. Some of his fellows liked to tease him because they knew that he was narrow-minded. They kept saying that Xiao Yunduan was lucky and talented, and that he was going to have a promising future. That made Xiao Lulang feel even more jealous. He swore to himself that he was going to bring down Xiao Yunduan on the occasion of couplet making today. He was going to let everyone understand that he was more talented than Xiao Yunduan, who had only pure luck on his side. Chapter 125 Face for them soon. Dean Meng and Mr. Zhou as well as Mr. Wu from Minghua College came over as well. All of them looked really excited. I did not expect that Officer Qiao would be here. He is hosting a banquet with County Officer Zhang ahead. Let's all go and celebrate with them. Oh yes, Madam Qiao and Lady Qiao are both here, so all of you should behave yourselves well. All the disciples looked both surprised and overjoyed. That is great. Yes, that is such a rare opportunity. Mr. Dean, don't worry, we will all behave well. As they were expressing their excitement, they could not help but look at Xiao Yunduan, and they could not help but feel even more jealous. Xiao Yunduan was Officer Qiao's son-in-law. It must have been for his honor that Officer Qiao had gathered everyone. Xiao Xian followed along with the group. Xiao Yunduan looked at her. He could not help but show worries on his face. Xiao Xian smiled at him and shook her head slightly. Don't worry, they don't want to be humiliated. They wanted to keep their facade and would not do anything to her openly. Officer Qiao was her father, and the whole family was here, so she needed to greet them no matter what. Officer Qiao was having a great time with the folk, and all the officers were watching the show. But they were in a very good position, where they were separated from the others, with guards standing by so the civilians could remain separated. It was a high spot in that area, where the view was excellent. It was not very close or far away from the bank. It was the perfect place to watch the show, not crowded but bustling. So when the group came to this place, they were far removed from noise. They all went up and greeted the honored guests. Officer Qiao looked chubby and white, wearing a kind and affable smile. He was greeting everyone with politeness, and even chatted for a bit with Dean Meng, who was asked to take the seat. Xiao Xian bowed and greeted them as well. Hello, father, madam. Oh, you are here? Oh, all right. Officer Qiao was surprised to see Xiao Xian here, and he almost burst out the question, who are you? As he looked closer, he noticed that it was the concubine's daughter. Otherwise, he would have lost his face in front of so many people. Officer Qiao was very surprised. Somehow he sensed that his daughter seemed to look a bit different from before. No wonder he almost did not recognize her. But that was a momentary thought which did not lead to any further ideas. He barely met this daughter of his before, and did not know well what she looked like. But Madame Qiao's and Qiao Wei's faces changed. Qiao Wei was almost going to snap at Xiao Xian, but for Madame Qiao's reminder, Xiao Xian smiled. You are here too, come and take a seat. Okay, madam. Xiao Xian smiled and behaved gently, walking towards the seat next to Madame Qiao with composure. After she took the seat, she looked up and met Xiao Yunduan's concerned look. She smiled at him, trying to console him. She was right. Madame Qiao would not humiliate her in public. Not everyone from the college had the seat, except for Dean Meng and some cultivated talents. All the others were standing behind the seats. But Xiao Lulang was different. Chapter 126. Young Master Xiao Lulang was not a cultivated talent, but he was Xiao Yunduan's cousin, whilst Xiao Yunduan was county magistrate's son-in-law. Therefore, Xiao Lulang pretended not to know the rules, and took the seat. No one went up to ask him to get up. Qiao Xian soon noticed that on the left side of Officer Qiao, there were two strange young men seated. Both of them were over 20 years old. One looked full of knowledge. He had a noble temperament, holding a folding fan, dressed in white, and was very elegant. The other person was slightly younger. He had handsome features and a pair of peach blossom eyes, flying diagonally into the temples, long and narrow. He looked bright. He had a smile on his face, giving people a feeling of laziness and arrogance. The royal blue robe with gold trim was very gorgeous, which made him even more eye-catching. Both of them had a very interesting attitude towards Officer Qiao. They were polite but not flattering. On the contrary, Officer Qiao seemed to flatter the handsome man in white every now and then. By this point, Qiao Xian more or less understood what was going on here. Her father did not like to hang out with common folks. He was focused on getting promoted and becoming rich. He was a very practical person. In the past, he would have never come to watch the dragon boat race. He must be here because of these two men who were interested in the race. He even had Madame Qiao and Qiao Wei with him. So, this young master must be holding a high position. Qiao Ko was also a follower of Qiao Wei, so Qiao Ko would always be with Qiao Wei wherever she was. But, Qiao Ko was nowhere to be seen today. Apparently, Qiao Wei did not need her to be around, and must have stopped Qiao Ko from meeting these two young masters. What if Qiao Ko got in touch with either of them? Qiao Wei would be very displeased. Qiao Xian could not help but smile. That would be an interesting show. Qiao Xian was absolutely right. At this moment in a small room of a small yard, Qiao Ko had finished crying hard. Concubine Du kept consoling her and said, "Don't cry any more, 3rd Mississippi. What if you get swollen eyes? What if Madame Qiao and Elder Miss see you?" "So what?" Qiao Ko snapped angrily. "Qiao Wei, the bitch is so narrow-minded, selfish and arrogant. She has her own suitor but still doesn't want me to have a good suitor. She doesn't allow me to meet young Master Xie, and also forbids me from meeting young Master Zhang and young Master Zhao. Mom, what should I do?" That white-clothed young master was called Xie Jingrong. He was the lineal elder grandson of the noble family, the Xie family. It was a very prestigious family in the city. He was talented, elegant and handsome. He was not into imperial examinations, but he was not someone to be looked down upon. His lineal grandfather was the former head of the Ministry of Personnel, whilst his father was the left officer of the Ministry of Rights. His mother was County Qingping, the only child of Lord Jian. More than 10 people of the Xie family were working as officers in the capital or some local areas. Moreover, there were endless of them who had achieved the level of recommended man and cultivated talent, but were yet to be granted official titles. That was a huge, noble clan that was far beyond the Qiao family's reach. Therefore, when Xie Jingrong was on a trip in this county with Yuezheng Shao, who was the 3rd young master of the Yuezheng family, an enormous business family, County Magistrate Qiao heard about it and came to greet them happily. The Xie family had a wide network. Although their clan was not based in the capital, they had a huge network in the capital. Therefore, County Magistrate Qiao hoped that the Xie family could help with his transfer back to the capital. He was sure that he could make it happen. Chapter 127. Qiao Ko and Concubine Du had heard that Xie Jingrong was not yet engaged, and she was very happy about that. Qiao Ko was quite pretty and was also a miss from an officer's family. She should be a great match for Xie Jingrong. Xie Jingrong was now in the county, and she believed that it was a good opportunity for the two of them to get married. Qiao Ko had looked at Xie Jingrong briefly before, and felt so bashful even to think about marrying him. If she could be martially connected to the Xie family and became Xie Jingrong's wife, she would be really satisfied. Xie Jingrong was not into the imperial examinations, but he was already a recommended man. With his talent, he could definitely become a primus easily by exerting a little effort. When they got married, things would be different. By that time, she could try to persuade him towards serious studies, and he would definitely become better. Moreover, he had a great background. If he ever became a primus, he would definitely make it to the highest position in his career. That was a promising future. Both Qiao Ko and Concubine Du had drawn a beautiful picture about his future in their heads. Concubine Du coaxed Officer Qiao and talked into Officer Qiao's ears. He was moved. However, after speaking with Madame Qiao turned down the proposal calmly. She was not as talkative as Concubine Du and did not make a long speech. All she said was that Xie Jingrong was from a noble family. He was talented, good-looking, and his grandparents' positions were also high. He was even qualified enough to marry a princess, or some noble miss from a prestigious family. Why would the Xie family allow him to marry a mere concubine's daughter? She had heard that young Master Xie had a very high standard towards his future wife, and that was why he had not gotten married till date. Would Xiao Ko be capable enough to be a match for him? They could not risk it. Only then did Officer Qiao realize what was going on. He was taken aback. He lectured Concubine Du severely, who had been waiting for his news outside. She almost caused him a lot of trouble. Concubine Du knew that it must have been Madame Qiao who created the disruption. She was angry and furious but could do nothing about it. The marriage would not work out if the madam of the family disapproved of it. Qiao Ko was very annoyed too. She had assumed that with Qiao Xian's help, it seemed as if she had had a good position in the family. She even sneaked out just to run into Xie Jingrong and Yue Xiao. However, Xie Jingrong and Yu Xiao returned to the hostel after Officer Qiao's persuasion. Madame Qiao sneered and told Officer Qiao what happened. Officer Qiao got so furious that he slapped hard on Qiao Ko's face, grounding both her and her mother. He was worried that Xie Jingrong would get angry about it, so he asked Xie Jingrong and Yue Xiao to watch the race, as a way of compensation. Qiao Wei kept sneering at Qiao Ko. She told her about the race and then mocked her. "Do you think you are good enough for young Master Xie?" Concubine Du even asked Madame Qiao to take Qiao Ko along for the race, but her request was turned down. They were both really furious and sad, sitting at home. The race started soon. With Officer Qiao present here, the prize had to be good. Officer Qiao expressed that the grand prize would be a roasted pig and goat, and the winning team would share the prizes. In addition, the winning team would be granted 2 liang. The prize was extremely luxurious. Chapter 128 praises every team spared no efforts for the race this year, and the civilians were all very excited, cheering along the banks. With the order put forward, the sound of drums was violently falling like raindrops, and the dragon boats that were ready to go like an arrow from the string rushed forward across the water. The civilians on both sides were cheering in excitement, loudly. The boats were speeding, chasing one after another. It was a great scene. Xiao Xian was watching with a lot of concentration, and she almost clapped in excitement, but for the place she was seated at. Qiao Wei rolled her eyes as she saw how Xiao Xian got excited about the show. How narrow-minded and stupid. Xiao Xian blinked her eyes and turned to Xiao Xian. "What are you talking about, sister?" Xiao Wei sneered and said, "I am speaking highly of you." Xiao Xian got excited and replied cheerfully, as her clear-looking eyes sparkled. "Thank you, sister, I think highly of you too." Xiao Wei got furious. "You! Just drop it." Madame Qiao turned to Xiao Xian and gave her a warning suggestion. "Just watch the show and don't talk." "Okay, mother." Xiao Xian smiled, looking obedient. Madame Qiao sneered inwardly. She somehow felt that she had been making no efforts to tease this woman. This bitch seemed to get so increasingly annoyed after she got married. She used to be so obedient in the past. Was she thinking that she was a broken jar and she did not need to care about anything? Xiao Wei was even more furious. She was always the dominator among the three sisters, and could always do whatever she wanted. Now she had been set up by Qiao Xian, who might have had no idea that she had set her up. But she was still really furious. She found that she had been tricked. The race went on. Although this section of the river was wide, it was obviously impossible for a total of 26 dragon boat teams to line up all at once. Therefore, the preliminary competition was divided 4 times over. Each time the first place would be rematched to compete for the top spot. The whole process of the game was very lively and intense. When everyone watched the game, they even wrote poems to add to the fun. County Magistrate Qiao learned that Xie Jingrong was very talented and that he loved to write poetry too. So he exchanged a few words with Xie Jingrong and then gave some regards to County Officer Zhang. County Officer Zhang said loudly, "Today is the Dragon Boat Festival, which coincides with this lively event. We can't have fun without poetry? What about we all make some poems for the beautiful scenery around here?" County Magistrate Qiao laughed and added, Yes, County Officer Zhang is right. Dean Meng, don't be restrained, just make some poems, so we can let young Master Xie make some remarks about them. That would be such a great honor." Xie Jingrong felt helpless, but he was a man with honor. Instead of countering him, he lowered his head slightly and said, "Thank you for the compliment, Officer Qiao." Yue Jingshao wasn't so happy. He rolled his eyes and said, "Poetry is too complicated, what about making couplets, and it adds much more money?" County Magistrate Qiao was startled, but smiled when Xie Jingrong approved of this idea by default. Good idea. Young Master Yuezhing is right. Let's make couplets." No one knew where young Master Xie was from, but seeing how County Magistrate Qiao treated him, they all believed that he was a big figure. Chapter 129 Not outstanding, County Officer Zhang added, and when Dean Meng agreed, all the disciples started to show off. Someone made the first couplet, whilst the other made the second. All the couplets needed to be related to Dragon Boat. Some were excellent, which were spoken highly of by the others. Couplets included Womgrass for the men, and Rush Grass for the emperor. Beautiful ladies among grass, pure-hearted scholars of poetry. Dragon Boat Day and Pear Flower, Summer Morning and Birds Chirping. Hearing the couplets, Xie Jingrong believed that some were almost up to standard, so he made some remarks, causing them to want to make even more. Xiao Lulang had tried to make some couplets, but none of them were good enough, failing to catch the attention of County Magistrate Qiao and Xie Jingrong. He felt quite distressed. But when he thought of how his cousin did not make any, he felt encouraged and less distressed. Compared to Xiao Yunduan, he was much better. Motivated, Xiao Lulang decided to scrape his brain to show his talent. In fact, Xiao Yunduan just did not want to make any couplets. He did not like to stand out. Also, Officer Qiao and Madame Qiao did not like him, and Madame Qiao held a grudge against him. In this case, he tried to keep a low profile and stay away from the mess. However, the more Xiao Yunduan wanted to stay low profile, the less he was able to. When countered by Qiao Xian, Qiao Wei had been holding a grudge against her sister and was trying her best to find a way to take revenge for the trap she herself had set. She hated to be talked down to, so she decided to direct her grudge towards Xiao Yunduan. When all the disciples were competing among themselves, only Xiao Yunduan stayed silent. Qiao Wei, of course, did not know that Xiao Yunduan was doing that on purpose. She thought that Xiao Yunduan lacked the knowledge to make any couplets. Therefore, she was going to humiliate this idiot in public. That was like humiliating Qiao Xian. It would make her feel less annoyed. Qiao Wei rolled her eyes and whispered to her maid, Fendi, next to her. The maid turned to Qiao Xian, nodded and went to County Officer Zhang, passing on to him what Qiao Wei had said. County Officer Zhang felt quite embarrassed. He had no idea what was going on inside County Magistrate Qiao's family, but listening to the task assigned, he could tell what was going on for real. He had heard of how Elder Miss normally behaved. The elder miss ordered her maid to pass on the message to him that he should come up with a difficult idea for the second miss husband to make a couplet, so that he could be humiliated. It was such a stupid thing to do. How could he humiliate a county magistrate's son-in-law? The county magistrate would lose his face if his son-in-law was embarrassed. But if he did not obey elder miss' order, this narrow-minded woman would tell Madame Qiao, who would ensure that his wife and daughter suffered greatly in the future. Helplessly, County Officer Zhang still decided to do as instructed. He chuckled and turned to Xiao Yunduan. Cultivated talent Xiao, you seem like a talented person, why don't you make a couplet for us to read? Chapter 130 Elder Miss Qiao's request. Everyone was startled. But they did not think that County Officer Zhang was setting up a trap for Xiao Yunduan. Instead, they believed that County Officer Zhang was helping Xiao Yunduan to stand out, so that he could behave well in front of the public. They could not help but feel jealous again. This man had found a huge shelter for himself. Look at him. After he became related to the county magistrate, even the county officer was trying to help him. That was what Xiao Lulang thought as well. He felt more jealous than anyone else. Xiao Lulang threw a look at Xiao Yunduan, but smiled. County officer, my cousin isn't so good at it. What about me doing it in place of him? County Officer Zhang was startled, and Xiao Yunduan fell into silence. He also wished that Xiao Lulang could stand out for him. However, Qiao Wei was not pleased. She said loudly, that doesn't work. You aren't part of our family, you can't replace him. What about you making a couplet instead? Qiao Wei turned to Qiao Xian and smiled. She looked intimidating. Qiao Xian only had a little knowledge about characters, and she had never learned how to write poetry or lyrics, nor had she been taught how to play the zither, chess, or write calligraphy or draw. It would be great to see her humiliated in public. No one dares to utter a sound anymore. That was Elder Miss Qiao's request, which no one dared to counter. Yue Jingshao couldn't help but snort, but he was very interested in watching the show. Xie Jingrong could not help but glance at Qiao Wei, thinking that this elder Miss Qiao was so stupid. She had showcased her real intentions. But did she realize that if she humiliated her sister in public, her father would be humiliated too? It seemed that Officer Qiao wasn't so good at governing the family. He was suddenly reminded of another Miss Qiao whom he ran into, and he felt even worse about this family. Officer Qiao's face had sunk. He raised his eyebrows and glared at Madame Qiao. But Madame Qiao did not catch his message, since she was concentrating on something else. Officer Qiao became even more furious. This daughter of his was too spoiled by her mother, so that she had become arrogant and free-willed. Yes, he was the head of a county. Did that mean she could do whatever she wanted? What about when they went back to the capital? This behavior would bring them so much trouble. He had to discipline her when they returned. Madame Qiao was also sighing inside her heart at the moment. She had spoiled her daughter so much that she could not tolerate a thing. She was venting her anger at the moment. She was just thinking about embarrassing Qiao Xian through her husband, just to make her sad, but what about her father? That bitch was also her father's daughter. Madame Qiao knew that her husband would have given her a warning look, but what could she do right now? Her daughter had already spilled out the request, and anything she did would mean a slap on her daughter's face. There was nothing she could do. She had to pretend not to have caught her husband's message. Hearing that Qiao Wei was trying to humiliate Xiao Xian, he got anxious and angry, so he immediately retorted. Wormgrass in front of households, folks cheer for the race of dragon boats. Sorry I'm not that good at it, but here is your order, county officer. I just made one randomly. Under normal circumstances, when Xiao Yunduan was done making the couplet, the whole thing would be over. But Xiao Wei did not want to drop it. She chuckled at Xiao Xian. It is your turn, sister. Make one to cheer everyone up. Chapter 131. Not her. Xiao Xian was rolling her eyes inwardly. You can't even do that yourself. Why forcing me? Xiao Wei, who had been spoiled in the family, was not devoted to studies at all. She was no better than Xiao Xian in talent either. But she was the lineal daughter, whilst Xian was the concubine's daughter, and at the mercy of Xian. Hence, she could not use the same request to counter her. Otherwise the whole thing would get worse. Xian turned to her and said without hesitation, "I don't know how to." Qiao Wei was surprised. It was such a straightforward confession made without shame or embarrassment that Qiao Wei did not know how to react. Women without knowledge are virtuous. "I don't know how to make couplets," Xian added. She had no idea how to, and she was not good at it either. Qiao Wei just could not say anything to mock her, strike her down, or humiliate her in this case. "All right." Madame Qiao smiled and intervened. "Quan Xian is right, women don't need to be good at this. Just drop the topic and watch the race." Yes, watch the race." Officer Qiao let out a sigh of relief and let out a laugh. County Officer Zhang was clever, so he changed the topic directly, followed by all the disciples who continued to watch the race. Finally, the topic was dropped. Qiao Wei threw a glare at Xian. Her face sank, and she was obviously not convinced. Xian ignored her. She knew that this sister of hers was so used to being intimidating that she could not change her personality at the moment. But she was very surprised. Her father, who had been dreaming about getting promoted and cared so much about his face, must have noticed the inappropriate behaviors of his daughter. He was surely going to discipline her when they went back home. Xiao, who was enjoying the show, could not help but throw a few looks at Xian. He was both interested and surprised. He had witnessed numerous fights between lineal daughters and concubines' daughters. Elder Miss Qiao was obviously trying to humiliate the second miss and her husband in public, but second miss was so straightforward about her lack of knowledge that Elder Miss Qiao could not do anything about it. Second miss cut down the trouble directly. Almost all the concubines' daughters whom he encountered had always been brought down by the lineal daughters. Second miss of the Qiao family seemed to be quite interesting. This Officer Qiao was even more interesting. He was an officer, and he married this concubine's daughter to an unknown cultivated talent. That cultivated talent was obviously defending his wife, but he did not seem to have a good feeling towards the Qiao family. Xiao was a bit confused. He had not expected that there would be such a big show in a county magistrate's family. It was almost lunchtime, and the race came to a good end. Everyone waved goodbye to each other. Xian and Xiao left before everyone else did. "Had I known that we would run into them, I would not have come here. It is my fault." Xiao sounded guilty. "I should have known about this before." Xian was not as angry as before. She smiled and waved her hand. Officer Qiao did not have the interest in watching the show earlier. No one would have predicted that he would be here today. "Oh, I really want to eat glutinous rice dumplings at home and barberries. Let's finish our errands and go home." Xiao nodded. "Okay, let's do it." The two of them went to landowners, hoping to see if there were any good fields available to buy. Chapter 132 Super Luck. The landowner smiled. "You are very lucky. Businessman Zhang is in urgent need of money, and he is selling 240 mu of good fields urgently. If you buy them now, you can start to cultivate crops and harvest in autumn. But he is in a big hurry. He needs to have the deal done and paid for in the next 2 days. I was wondering how to contact you, and here you are." Xian and Xiao were both quite happy. Xian chuckled. "This is our destiny. That good field is meant to be mine." "True." The two of them agreed that the landowner would bring them to have a look at the field the next day, and if they were okay with the deal, they would pay the money and sign the contract right then and there. After they left the landowner, Xian said to Xiao, "Let's write both our names on the deed, okay? We are still in a joint family and the yield has to be shared with the whole family. But if we live separately in the future, we will still continue to share a big portion with our parents and brothers." Xiao was startled. "It is your field and you should write your own name on the deed. You can share the revenue portion at your will with the family. Mom is a very understanding woman, and she won't want to take advantage of you." Xian smiled and fell into a good mood. What super luck she had that she ran into a family like this. Her nature had always been like this. When she was treated well, she would pay those who treated her nicely back even better. She was the one who earned the money, but she could not have earned this amount of money alone. A single woman would not get a position for herself if she had no one to lean on. They were her shelter and bay, and with their help, she was able to do whatever she wanted. They were helping each other. "Just listen to my arrangement, please," said Xianxia firmly. Xiao Yunduan opened his mouth and wondered what she meant. These were meant to be her private properties. Why would she not keep them separate? Was she not worried that it would be difficult for her to handle it in the future? Or was she saying that she was not going to leave the family? Xiao Yunduan was not certain and kept speculating on this matter in his head. "Okay, you can take that call, they would think about that later." At Mingrentang in the backyard, Manager Qin was receiving Xie Jingrong and Yue Xiao politely. Xie Jingrong was seeking a very difficult medical herb in this county. But he had not yet paid the visit to the best pharmacy in the local area before Officer Qiao came to his door. At this point, he finally had the chance to conduct his own business. The two sides were just talking when Yue Xiao saw an employee craning his head. He smiled. "Manager Qin, your employee needs you now." Manager Qin and Xie Jingrong turned to look into the direction of the speaker. The employee could no longer hide himself. He took a step forward and smiled with a greeting. Xie Jingrong nodded at Manager Qin. He said politely, "Please, Manager Qin." Manager Qin smiled but glared at the employee. They had no secret at the pharmacy, and he could just share the message in front of Xie Jingrong and Yue Xiao. "Just spill it." The employee smiled. "Young Master Xiao and Mrs. Xiao are here to fetch the seeds. They are in a hurry to go home, so I came to urge you." Xiao Yunduan and Qiao Xian had the ability of getting such a large quantity of wild honey and Gastrodia elata for the pharmacy, so they were well received at Manager Qin's place. If those things could be well planted, then the pharmacy would have a long-term deal with them. Chapter 133. Exception. Manager Qin was startled. He smiled. "I almost forgot about that. I will be out there soon." Manager Qin turned to Xie Jingrong and said, "Young Master Xie, young Master Xiao and his wife should be of great help for you. They live in the countryside and often go into the mountains. They have brought numerous good things to us." Xie Jingrong and Yue Xiao were startled. Since Manager Qin said so, he must have gotten many excellent things from the couple but did not want to share those. Xie Jingrong said, "Okay, in this case, let's bring them in here." "That is exactly what I mean." Manager Qin chuckled and asked his employee to get the couple in. The employee answered and felt emotional. The couple was so lucky as to have come over at the moment. If the couple managed to help young Master Xie with even a small thing, they would have no worries in their future life. No worries ever. Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian, who heard that the manager had already got the seeds for them, were so happy that they decided to buy them and leave quickly. In this way, they could take a look in the market, buy some food and go home soon. But the manager had something else in store for them. When they came to the back hall, all four guests were startled. "Cultivated talent Xiao, second miss of Qiao, what are you doing here?" Yue Xiao's eyes widened in surprise. Xiao Yunduan smiled and greeted them. "This is quite coincidental. Sorry for the interruption." No, it is no bother." Yue Xiao smiled. "I did not expect that Manager Qin meant you too." Manager Qin could not help but smile as well. "Since you are all friends, then we can save a lot of trouble. Please take your seats." "Yes." They exchanged greetings and sat down. Manager Qin started the conversation. Soon, Xiao Yunduan turned speechless. "Young Master Xie, you are seeking a Chinese fleeceflower root over 500 years old, yes?" Xie Jingrong said, "I don't know much about this county, so I came to the pharmacy to see if there are any contacts that can be used. Manager Qin suggests that you can help, so please, I would like you to help me, and if the deal is done, I will pay you a great amount as compensation." Pharmacies had their own sources of medical herbs. Some were planted inside the pharmacies, or cultivated by medical farmers or imported by herb businessmen. For ordinary medicinal materials, If a villager got 5 or 4 kgs and sold them in a medical store, they would not accept such small things since they had to process the materials, and the volume would be too small for processing. They would not want to do that. But there was always an exception. If rare medical materials were brought to the door, the pharmacies would accept that readily. Some pharmacies would even entrust experienced old hunters and farmers who knew about the mountains to seek rare things. That was why Xie Jingrong came to Mingrentang. Xie Jingrong was very much respected by people around because he came to the door personally and treated the manager politely, despite being a man from a highly noble family. Xiao Yunduan replied politely, "Thanks, young Master Xie, we can definitely help you if we have the chance. But a Chinese fleeceflower root over 500 years old can be difficult to find." Xie Jingrong smiled and sighed. "I know, just do your best, that would be enough." Chapter 134 Pause. Qiao Xian smiled and said to Xiao Yunduan, "Darling, Chinese fleeceflower root is a very commonly seen thing. Although it isn't available everywhere, it is not so difficult to find. Since you have asked for it, young Master Xie, we will definitely give it our best." It was a favor being sent to the door. It was just a Chinese fleeceflower root over 500 years old. They could simply go into the mountains to seek for that with her superpower, one mountain after another. They would always find it. She could even find one which was 300 or 400 years old, and with her superpower, she could urge it to grow faster so the plant became 500 years old. Young Master Xie was a person whom even her father was afraid of. So, he must be a very important figure. She had to cozy up to him who was so powerful. It would be a pity to let go of this chance. Hearing what Qiao Xian said, Xiao Yunduan almost burst out in helplessness. She was lucky indeed, but she should not be this arrogant. After all, luck was an uncertain thing. It could not be touched or felt. Who could predict what might happen next? But he did not counter her when they were facing outsiders. He was worried, though, that she would say something that could not be realized, so Xiao Yunduan added, "Yes, we will surely try, but we can't guarantee a good result." Yuezhing Xiao looked at both of them and then finally at Manager Qin. This couple looked to be quite unreliable. They seemed too indifferent when they spoke about this matter. Manager Qin, however, was very confident about the couple. He added with a smile, Yes, please, young Master Xiao and Madam Xiao. Just go and do the needful. I will be waiting for your good news." By this point, even Xie Jingrong found that they seemed unreliable. He thought that it would always be better if they could entrust Manager Qin to find some other helpers as well. There were many mountains in the county and the possibility seemed relatively small of just 2 people finding the requisite route. "We will," said Xiao Yunduan as he got up, saying goodbye to them. Manager Qin did not keep them, but asked his employees to open the door to fetch the seeds of Nodo ginseng and false starwort for them. Qiao Xian looked at Xie Jingrong and Yuezhing Xiao, not knowing what to say. Manager Qin did not know about her and County Magistrate Qiao's relationship, and she did not want more people to know about this, which might cause trouble. She wondered if these 2 people would spill out her real identity. Yuezhing Xiao noticed her behavior and smiled. "Anything you would like to say, Madam Xiao?" Qiao Xian smiled. "Should we deliver Chinese fleeceflower roots to Mingrentang directly?" Xie Jingrong answered, "Yes." "Okay." Qiao Xian nodded and said, "Me and my husband are just common, ordinary villagers in the mountains, and we have no strong background behind us, nor do we know much about what is going on around, but we know what is in the mountains, so we will try our best to find it." Xiao Yunduan instantly understood what Qiao Xian meant. He added frankly, "Yes, so please wait for our message patiently, and if the deal fails, please forgive us, that is all." Xie Jingrong and Yuezhing Xiao were both smart men. They thought for a while and eventually understood what the couple meant. Yuezhing Xiao laughed involuntarily. "No worries." Chapter 135 An image. Yuezhing Xiao got even more curious. What was going on with County Magistrate Qiao's family? Manager Qin was not aware of second Miss Real Identity. This second miss did not seem to care about being married to a farmer's family, and even offered to look for Chinese fleeceflower roots. Could she be the county magistrate's real daughter? Or was she raised in the countryside? Could she really do it? Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan let out a sigh of relief, leaving directly. Darling, this is a great opportunity. Let's go and buy some food to celebrate. Xiao Xian was very happy. Xiao Yunduan did not want to discourage her, so he nodded. Yes, let's just try our best. If the deal was accomplished, it would be a huge favor they would have done for the powerful people. If not, they would have to accept it frankly. They could not be afraid of being defeated, otherwise they would be very sad if they failed. They needed to stay calm. Xiao Xian bought pork belly, ribs, 2 fat ducks, a roast chicken, some snacks, and head flowers for Tao Tao and Xiao Qing. When she was done shopping, she started to head home with Xiao Yunduan. At Mingrentang, Xie Jingrong still asked Manager Qin to entrust several more hunters and experienced veterans in the mountains for help, before leaving with Yuezheng Xiao. Yuezheng Xiao could not help but laugh. Officer Qiao's family is quite interesting. Look at that second miss, she is more than ordinary. Then he laughed as well. Honestly, I have never met any concubine's daughter like her. Xie Jingrong frowned slightly as he turned to him. The Qiao family isn't a family with integrity, let's just drop it. But the second miss seems quite different. Not that he really cared how she was. He was definitely going to return her favor if she was able to find Chinese fleeceflower root over 500 years old. That was all he could do, since he was not interested in the Qiao family. Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan traveled home leisurely on his bullock cart. The cart moved very slowly. While they were on the cart, they could notice what was going on around them. When they found a tall, young man lying in a coma in the grass on the roadside, they could not help but stop, exchanging a look between themselves. Hang here, let me go and have a look, Xiao Yunduan said. Let me go with you. Okay. The couple wanted to save people. Otherwise they would feel really uncomfortable afterwards, and would never be able to get over the lump. Xiao Xian went down the cart and wondered what happened to the man. Xiao Yunduan came to the man's side, felt his nose and sighed in relief. He is still breathing, he should be fine. Come, help me pick him up. Okay. The couple spared no effort to help this tall man up. He was leaning against Xiao Yunduan. Suddenly, Xiao Xian felt stiffened and started to turn dizzy. In front of her eyes, like a revolving lantern, a fragmented but clear picture appeared. In the desert and yellow sand, the flags and banners were floating in the wind, the generals looked majestic and there were thousands of troops behind them. The general returned triumphantly, and when he entered the city, the crowd was surging, and the people and officials shouted loudly. In the Golden Throne Hall, the old emperor laughed heartily. He conferred the title and rewarded the general. There were about 10 pictures, each of which was not connected, but the general in each picture was the same person, and the appearance of that person closely resembled the man in front of them. Actually, they were the same person. Chapter 136. What to see what? What was going on? Xiao Xian was almost dumbfounded. What on earth had she seen? The future of this man? Or maybe the past? Xiao Xian shook herself out of her stupor. Suddenly, she was very motivated to save him. At this moment, Xiao Yunduan let out a low cry. He has wounds on his back and thighs. Let's help him bandage that. Okay. Neither of them were professional medical people. Moreover, this man was not only wounded but also starved. So, when the couple was done bandaging him, they fed him water, before he slowly woke up. They fed him almost 250 grams of snacks slowly. His mind became clear, gradually. Who are you? Xiao Yunduan replied calmly. We were passing by and saw you in a coma. How are you feeling now? Better? Startled, the man greeted the couple. Thank you for saving my life. It is okay. Xiao Yunduan could not accept such a big gesture, but waved his hands and said, We were just passing by, not a big deal. Where is your home? We will drop you there. The man looked confused and miserable. He had no home. He left home when he was much younger, full of ambition, always thinking that he could make a name for himself but eventually ended up gaining nothing. After a few years of wandering he returned, but by then his parents were dead. His uncle had taken hold of the properties and insisted that he had committed a crime outside. So he got irritated and hit them. The others couldn't help but rush up and took the opportunity to beat him fiercely before locking him up in the woodshed. He had no idea how they were going to deal with him, but he knew that it was not going to be good. After being in the woodshed for 3 days, he managed to escape but ended up passing out here on the spot in pain and starvation. Unexpectedly, he was saved by 2 kind-hearted people. Come and read on our website Wuxia world site. Thanks, there were good people in this world. He was no longer so angry at the sight of this couple in front of him. Thanks, but it is fine, you can leave me here. He originally wanted to say that if there was a chance in the future he would definitely repay them, but then he thought about it, and realized that he had gotten to this point. What was his future? What could he do in return? It all seemed so ridiculous. He laughed self-mockingly. Anyway, thanks very much for saving me. You will definitely have a great fortune in the future. Xianxia was not gonna let go of this opportunity. Immediately, she handed the roast chicken and a packet of dim sum to the man, and said with a smile, "If that's the case, we will just leave. Our village is not close by, so we should go back." The man nodded. "Please." The man had woken up and he should be fine, so Xiao Yunduan greeted him and left with Xianxia. The 2 of them went back to the bullock cart and continued on their journey. They could not help but exchange a few emotional words. The man saw them off until they disappeared out of sight. He struggled back on his feet and went to an isolated place. He was starved and needed to regain energy before he could do anything else. He opened the paper that was supposed to hold roasted chicken, but his eyes suddenly widened. In one of the layers, there were almost 2 liang in change as well as 1 well-folded note of 50 liang. No one would have put the money in this place accidentally. They must have given the money to him on purpose. He was so messy-looking and homeless. They must be trying to help him out. The man could not help but feel like crying as he held the money and food in his arms. Chapter 137 An Idea, Shouting Village. He mumbled inside his heart. He swore that he was definitely going to become someone accomplished in the future. At that time, he would return the favor and, more importantly, take his revenge. He was not going to live the rest of his life as a useless person. When Xianxia and Xiao Yunduan were back home, the glutinous dumplings were already steaming. The dumplings were put in a large iron pot, covered with a heavy wooden lid, and cooked on the stove. Some of the steam was escaping the lid, spreading the aroma of fresh grass and leaves in the whole room. It was festival time and everyone was craving the dumplings, which were eaten only once a year. They did not even eat lunch and instead waited for the dumplings. Seeing them returning, Ms. Fong opened the lid and scooped out some large ones for them to eat. Meat dumplings, pork ribs dumplings, bean dumplings, 8 treasure dumplings, and alkaline water dumplings were marked when they were being wrapped. The length and number of straw cores in each kind of dumpling were different, so it was easy to distinguish. Xiao Taotao and Xianxia helped open the dumplings. The dumplings were cut into pieces with the straw core that bound them before they were placed on the plate. The shining dumplings looked beautiful and smooth in appearance, and when they were twisted open, the aroma of rice, meat, or sweetness inside was mouth-watering and attractive. The meat dumplings smell so great. I want meat dumplings too, they look so delicious. Ms. Fong smiled. All right, we have a large number of them. Eat as many as you want. She had money and could afford to make those dumplings. It was a festival and they should all be happy during this period. Long strips of pork belly and large ribs had been marinated with 5-spice powder, soy sauce, shredded ginger, green onion, cooking wine, etc. last night. They were wrapped in the dumplings and boiled for nearly 2 hours. The bones could be easily broken in one bite. Mixed with the fragrance of glutinous rice soaked and boiled in alkaline water, the dumplings were really delicious. Come and read on our website Wuxia world site. Thanks, they had never eaten meat dumplings before. This year's food was really sumptuous. After the glutinous dumplings, they ate a few fresh bayberries and loquats to relieve tiredness, which was perfect. Among the fruit trees transplanted in Xiaoxian's garden, the bayberry, loquat, and plum did not fall out. A lot of them were left on the tree. They were now ripe, so Xiaoxian brought a few young ones to the yard to pick the fruits. It was a lively scene. Everyone was amazed, saying that it was not a wasteland. It was obviously a treasure land. Not only was the sweet spring water dug up, but also the fruit trees and Gastrodia elata were growing very well. The fruits tasted so sweet. At night, Xiaoxian cooked the food. She had pickles at home and really wanted to make a bowl of pickled fish today, so she took Xiaoxia and Xiao to go fishing in the river in the afternoon. They held fishing poles in their hands, which were brought by Xiao Sanlang from somewhere. Xiao Yunduan also went fishing with them. Xiao Sanlang came back with a fishing rod 2 days ago and had been shouting ever since to go fishing with them. But when the time came, he was nowhere to be seen. Where is third brother? He was here just a while ago. Xiaoxia was confused. Xiao shook her head, looking bemused as well. Xiaoxian thought for a while and burst into laughter. She said to Xiao Yunduan, "I have an idea." Xiao Yunduan was startled and smiled. "Just leave him alone. He would be very careful about it." "Yes." Xiaoxian nodded with a smile. "Let's go." Xiaoqi and Xiao were confused about what was happening, but were extremely motivated to go fishing. "We are going fishing." It was all right even if third brother wasn't with them. Chapter 138. Laughing third brother had stolen 3 meat dumplings, wrapped them in leaves randomly and gone to find his wife-to-be, Yang Xiaoni. It was a festival but Yang Xiaoni still needed to work. She was out in the mountains chopping wood. Normally, the bride-to-be should be resting at home, sorting her dowry and everything. She should be very busy with all that. Unfortunately, Yang Xiaoni was not treated in this way. But she was glad that soon, she would not need to do anything like this anymore. When Xiao Sanlang found her, she was eating wild fruits in the mountains. "Brother Sanlang." Yang Xiaoni cheered as she saw Xiao Sanlang. Xiao Sanlang looked up and saw her, laughing along the side. He rushed to her. The two of them sneaked into the forests by default. This way they could not be discovered so easily. The same mistake could not be made twice. Yang Xiaoni sniffed and her eyes sparkled. "It smells so good. Third brother, what have you brought for me?" Xiao Sanlang gazed at her proudly. "Just guess." Yang Xiaoni sniffed again. "Ah, it is glutinous dumplings." "Yes." "It is made by fifth sister-in-law. There is pork belly and ribs filling inside. It is delicious. I have brought you 3. "Really? I am going to have a good taste of it." Yang Xiaoni rubbed her hands and could not wait and took a bite when Xiao Sanlang opened it for her. The dumplings were bursting with fillings. Every bite would reach the meat. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, the fragrant glutinous rice dumplings and the fragrant and soft meat of the dumplings were blended together very well. The aroma was tangy, and it was so delicious after the first bite that one could not wait to swallow a piece of the tongue also alongside. "It is really yummy." Yang Xiaoni's eyes sparkled. She was obsessed and just could not stop eating them. Xiao Sanlang felt very pleased. "What did I tell you? When you move in, you will know how well my fifth sister-in-law cooks. She is like no one else." Yang Xiaoni agreed and looked expectant. "I have never eaten a dumpling as good as this. Our fifth sister-in-law is so good at cooking. I wish I could move in with you directly. I will treat fifth sister-in-law well in the future." Xiao Sanlang smiled. "It is happening soon. I am counting the days, only 15 days left." "Yes." They laughed at each other happily. Satisfied by the meat dumplings, Yang Xiaoni held one in her arms and they continued to talk for some more time before they separated at the entrance of the Yang family. They unwillingly waved each other goodbye. Miss Tian came and glared at Yang Xiaoni the moment she arrived home. Yang Xiaoni saw that this woman was throwing temper again. She put down the chopped wood and dashed off before Ms. Tian could say a word. She had already eaten 2 glutinous rice dumplings and held one in her arms for dinner, so she did not have to eat with them. You bitch, being lazy all the time, stupid and lazy, no food for you. Ms. Tian was still cursing her when she left. Ms. Tian cursed at Yang Liang when returned. Then she started to curse the whole Xiao family. Chapter 139 His Own Reasons. It is a festival. Look at the Xiao family, they have given us nothing this time around. They don't treat us seriously. They won't spare a look at us in the future, forget before the girl marries the family. That was why Miss Tian was extra unfriendly to Yang Xiaoni today. She had assumed that the Xiao family would offer them some gifts at festivals, since the wedding was to be hosted in no time. She even looked forward to receiving glutinous dumplings and eggs from the Xiao family, as well as 2 chickens. They were waiting from morning to the evening, but received nothing. Miss Tian was really annoyed. Yang Liang, who never had any opinion for himself, got furious after hearing the instigating words from Ms. Tian. I told you that this marriage would not work. The Xiao family is looking down at us. Now you know that they are not going to regard us as part of their family. Yang Liang got even angrier. It is settled. They have spent so much on the wedding gift. Do you think they will break off the engagement? Just keep your mouth shut, no more nonsense. Ms. Tian had not expected that he would counter her in this way. She screamed, "How dare you counter me? Yang Liang." The couple had a row with each other. The neighbors could not help but sigh, hearing their arguments. The Xiao family would definitely not go to the second section of the family for dinner. Eldest uncle had to go there alone, since Miss Fong refused to follow along. He had his own reasons. Yes, his sister-in-laws had been at fault, but they had realized their mistakes already, right? Since they already knew about it and offered dinner at their place, why not give them a chance to repent? What more did they expect them to do when they apologized? They were all a family and could not possibly be treated like criminals after just one mistake, right? That would be ruthless. But Ms. Fong was in the midst of being angry, so eldest uncle could do nothing but leave her alone. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. Eldest uncle asked Xiao Sanlang and Xiao Dalong to follow him for dinner. But Xiao Dalong hesitated, whilst Xiao Sanlang snapped directly. I am not going. Fifth sister-in-law is cooking delicious dishes tonight and I am definitely eating at home. Could second aunt-in-law's food exceed that of fifth sister-in-law's? Fifth sister-in-law was going to make a huge feast for the family. He had been looking forward to this dinner for days. Eldest uncle got so stuck. He knew nothing except for food. Could he do anything else apart from that? Eldest uncle glared at Xiao Sanlang. Second aunt-in-law is killing chickens. Why not go there? You are old enough to understand etiquette. Xiao Sanlang was straightforward as always. We have no chicken tonight, but we have ducks, ribs, pork belly, fish and shrimps. You. Eldest uncle glared at him. Eating is the only thing you know. Xiao Sanlang laughed and scratched his head. That is true, Dad. He was so blatant about it. Eldest uncle. This boy was trying to irritate him to death. Ms. Fong wanted to laugh but could not. She held a tight face. So what? Good that he loves eating. You can go there alone, don't try to drag us with you. Eldest uncle snorted and ignored her. Yes, he was going alone, so what? He was going now. Angry, eldest uncle left home directly. Chapter 140 Festival. The whole family let out a sigh of relief, and they went all out to make preparations for the dinner. Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan decided to get a big fish in the afternoon, so Xiao Xiaoqi took them to a relatively isolated and deep-water area of the river. There was one section where long and many seaweeds were growing. Xiao Taotao as well as Xiao Xiaoqi were fishing shrimps using a net whilst Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan were fishing on the bank. Xiao Xian looked calm, but actually, she could not do anything. With her superpower, she was able to see endless fish in the seaweeds, but that did not help. They were not able to catch any of it. Luckily, there were enough fish and shrimps in the river, and they harvested a lot. Half a basket of shrimps plus half a barrel of small fish as well as more than 30 large, green, finger-sized shrimps were taken back. They got several crucian carp about the size of a palm, as well as 2 grass carp more than a foot long, along with 5 long large eels. What pleased Xiao above all was that they also managed to catch a palm-sized wild mandarin fish. They killed the duck for dinner, cut tender ginger into pieces, stir-fried chili and garlic cloves, added rice wine, soy sauce and other seasonings, as well as water. The whole thing was simmered over high heat. In this way, the fresh, spicy and fragrant taste quickly permeated the entire kitchen. They steamed mandarin fish and fried prawns in oil. The 2 grass carps were used to make pickled fish, whilst finger-sized, small fish were wrapped in egg batter and then fried. A few dishes plus a bowl of braised pork, vegetarian fried yam, and shredded cabbage were served. A sumptuous feast was laid out. The fish that could not be eaten up were kept in a large water tank in the backyard. Qiao put some water plants in the water tank. She could use the water plants to send her superpower into the water so that these fish could stay alive for almost half a year. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. Small river shrimps were not easy to raise, so they were roasted and dried. They could fry fresh leeks with it, or peppers, or even eggs. They could even make shrimp cakes with eggs the following day. When Xiao was cooking, the mandarin fish was steamed on the stove. The small fish was fried first, then the 2 stoves were busy with the duck and pickled fish. Then she quickly braised the pork that was made in the pot, and fried the shrimp in oil. After that, she stir-fried 2 vegetarian dishes. All the dishes were still piping hot when they were brought to the table. A large table of good dishes with aromatic flavors made the family drool. The pickled fish and ginger ducks were the most popular dishes. Everyone enjoyed them the most. They never expected that fish and pickles could be so good together whilst the duck meat smelled so fresh and spicy without any strange taste. They could say nothing but praise their 5th sister-in-law. They turned to look at Xiao Yunduan in jealousy. They all lamented that Xiao Yunduan was the luckiest one, since he was the only person who could eat the dish made by 5th sister-in-law throughout his life. The steamed mandarin fish was disliked at first. The family always thought it looked too strange and might have no taste. Xiao, however, urged everyone to have a taste of it. When they finally tried the first bite, they got attracted to the incomparable fresh dish. On the other hand, second uncle and Ms. Niu as well as the others greeted eldest uncle happily the moment he arrived. Eldest uncle felt so gratified and guilty, thinking that his second brother's family were so sincere, but Ms. Fong still refused to forgive them. However, second uncle and Ms. Niu exchanged a look between themselves, looking very proud. They knew that an apology would work. They could do whatever they wanted in the future. They knew that eldest brother would get soft-hearted. Ms. Niu went to fetch Ms. Ma and third uncle's family to join them. Ms. Ma was helping with the cooking whilst third uncle was chit-chatting with eldest uncle. Chapter 141 Family. The 2 sections of the family had sensed that they were not in a good place as before. Ms. Fong was annoying and more domineering than before. Moreover, Qiao had joined her. They kept bitching about her mistake. They tried to console eldest brother and even flattered him. Eldest brother was the master of the family. As long as he was well manipulated by them, everything else would be solved easily. It was just a matter of time. Eldest uncle felt so moved when he saw how his brothers, nieces and nephews were chatting with him. They were so nice to him. They were his family. He had treated them well these past few years and it was all worth the while. Their parents would be gratified in heaven as well. He had lived up to their parents' standards. In the kitchen, Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma were quite distracted. Ms. Ma could not help but look outside the kitchen, mumbling, "What are eldest sister-in-law and everyone else doing? What is keeping them for so long?" True, they all believed that the eldest section of the family would definitely be here, with eldest uncle coming over first, and the others following later. Ms. Niu was quite displeased as well. She knew exactly what Ms. Ma meant. When Ms. Fong and Ms. Su were here, they would definitely help in cooking. Also, eldest brother treated them well, and would always come with some gifts, like a chicken, for example. Ms. Niu even expected to wait until Ms. Fong arrived to kill the chicken. A while later, Ms. Ma could not stand the wait anymore. What on earth is taking them so long? Xiaoji Miling, go and check on them. Tell them to be here as soon as possible. Just wait. Ms. Niu stopped her. Let's just hold on. We can kill the chicken and make the food. We will fetch them when dinner is served. Ms. Ma was startled. Ms. Niu really started to think that she was stupid. She snapped. Haven't you got it? Eldest sister-in-law is so annoyed by us that she wants to postpone her arrival. Just drop it, we can make some dishes as we want. Ms. Ma nodded. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, that was exactly what Ms. Fong would have done. She is so stingy. We have apologized and made dinner, what more does she want? Should we kneel down and kowtow to her? Ms. Niu rolled her eyes. What else can we do? Ms. Ma was stuck with words. Yeah, what else could they do? All right. It was their own fault that they were caught red-handed. They had to be tolerant at the moment. It was Widow Sun, the bitch's fault. But for her big mouth, nothing like this would have happened. That bitch needed to be punished. So, Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma dropped the idea of fetching Ms. Fong at the moment, and pretended to make dishes with full sincerity. Ms. Niu, against her will, killed one of her chickens, whilst Ms. Ma brought 12 eggs as well as some vegetables from her house. They made the dinner without putting any oil or salt in it. When dishes were served on the table, Ms. Niu smiled. Eldest brother, the dishes are ready. What are eldest sister-in-law and the others doing? Yes, we are all waiting for them. Ms. Ma added with a smile. Eldest uncle's face stiffened. It is fine, we can wait a little longer. Miling Xiaoji, go and fetch them, okay? Second uncle made a gesture and let them leave. Eldest uncle was about to stop them, when he suddenly realized that maybe these two children would be able to move Ms. Fong. Chapter 142 Embarrassment. Xiao Xiaoji and Xiao Miling were not very happy to go when they saw the dishes on the table, but they had to agree to the instructions given. At the eldest section of the Xiao family, they were already done with food and were just cleaning up the table. When Xiao Xiaoji and Xiao Miling entered the room, Xiao Taotao was carrying the last bowls into the kitchen. Xiao Miling and Xiao Xiaoji did not see what the feast was like, but looking at the happy expression on the whole family's faces as well as the layers of bowls which Xiao Taotao had carried away, along with the remaining smell in the air, they could tell that the dinner must have been abundantly tasty. Eldest aunt, my parents asked me to take you there for dinner, but you seem to have eaten already? These two girls were not well-mannered since they were taught by their parents. Ms. Fong did not want to throw temper at them, and said smilingly, yes, there are so many of us here, so we aren't going over. We have eaten dinner. You can go home to eat yours. Xiao Miling nodded and left with Xiao Xiaoji. Dad, eldest aunt and the others already ate. They had already finished and the table was getting cleaned. The table was full of dishes. Xiao Miling pursed her lips. They were all startled. What? Eaten already? Second uncle and the others turned to eldest uncle. Eldest uncle's sweat dropped from his forehead. He was so embarrassed that he wanted to dig a pit in the ground and disappear. Oh yes, let's just forget them, it is their bad luck not to have eaten dinner here, let's just eat our food. Eldest brother. Third uncle sighed in disappointment. Is she still mad? Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. Ms. Ma pursed her lips. Yes, otherwise what is she behaving like this for? She could have just carried the dishes here and we could have celebrated together. Second uncle sighed too. Eldest brother, when will eldest sister stop this behavior? It is such a small matter. We have already apologized. Is she going to cut ties with us just because of that thing? Of course not. Eldest uncle denied directly, as he forced out a smile. We can leave her alone. You know her well, right? She is sharp in tongue but soft in heart. She should forget about this soon. Since the guests were absent, second uncle and the others could do nothing but start the dinner. At the dinner table, they kept showing passion to eldest uncle, who was so moved. The following morning after breakfast, Xian and Xiao Yunduan told Ms. Fang about buying fields before heading towards the town. The crops were budding, and farmers had started plowing the fields and planting rice seedlings. Every household was very busy. Xian had to postpone the planting of mushrooms. When the busiest period was finished, and the wedding of Xiao Sanlang and Yang Xiaoni was done, she could come and get the mushrooms. But she could start to make lipsticks. Also, she could also start the planting of medical herbs. With her superpower, she could always make sure that the plants grew well from the seedlings. Those gastrodia in the garden were growing unbelievably well. The watermelons were as big as small fists, round and green, spread all over the land. They looked really tempting. Wild grapes were all over the stack, creating a large shelter whilst small grapes started to bloom and fruits were growing out. The loquats, plums, and bayberries were also turning ripe, but Xian intentionally controlled the growth so that they could stay on the branches for at least one more month. Chapter 143 Arrival. The couple came to the town and visited the Zhang village with the landowner to check out the field. Zhang village was located in the east outskirts of the county, almost 10 miles away from the town, closer to the county compared to the Shaoding village. It was a really good area of more than 240 mu gold fields. Since they needed cash urgently, and the seller did not want to split them, very few families were able to pay in cash at one go, so Xiao Yunduan and Xian bought the whole thing at a low price. Xian was very satisfied, so she made the deal right there and then. The field was sold at 7 liang 1 mu, which should be 1,680 liang for the 240 mu in total. Xian bought another 5 mu of drought field at 20 liang, where she intended to build a small yard for future residents. Therefore, 1,700 liang was spent in one go. They had around 200 liang left from selling gastrodia elata after this. When the fields were bought, the tenants were available. But Xian did not want to reveal her identity, so she did not meet the tenants, but entrusted Zhang Chunlai and Zhang Xiaofeng with this matter. They were the chiefs, and Xian and Xiao Yunduan believed that they were down-to-earth farmers. So the task was delegated to them. Tenants were very afraid that when the landlords changed, the rent would be raised, but when they realized that everything was the same, they were assured in heart. The Zhang village was located on a relatively flat field, where a large patch of land was spread across the distance. There were also some beautiful dikes and creeks. Xian decided to have a look around since they were here. Xiao Yunduan kept her company. They climbed the mountain and saw the river flowing across the beautiful landscape. Come and read on our website Wuxia World Site. Thanks. It was May, the trees were shady and the vines were entwined. It was not as beautiful as the blooming flowers in spring, but there were still many wildflowers swaying on the banks of the river and the forest road, embellishing it in a deep and shallow shade of green. The mountain scenery was so outstanding that as they were walking in the middle, they felt relaxed and happy. Xian had been to many mountains, but it was all for work. This was the first time when they were having fun in the mountains, thus, both of them were overjoyed. Seeing her happy smile, Xiao Yunduan could not help but feel happy too. They intended to climb up to the top of the mountain. Xiao Yunduan and his fellows had been to this spot, so they knew that there was one pavilion on the top as well as a hole. Xian became interested in visiting the spot when she heard about this. However, as they reached half of the mountain, the couple ran into Xie Jingrong and Yue Jingshao as well as their 4 followers. Both sides were startled. Yue Jingshao smiled. Young Master Xiao, second miss, what a coincidence. Xian let out a small cough. What a coincidence. You are having a good time, aren't you? They were almost considered to be friends, so they greeted each other politely. All of them were heading towards the top of the mountain, so they had no choice but to walk together. Yue Jingshao could not help but ask, "Are you here seeking Chinese fleeceflower root?" But the village is just next to the mountain, where a Chinese fleeceflower root over 500 years old might not be found, right? Xian and Xiao Yunduan exchanged an embarrassed look between themselves as he said the words. They were not here for Chinese fleeceflower root. They were here for fun. Yue Xiao might not have noticed it, but Xie Jingrong had understood the point. Of course the couple was not here for herbs. They were not equipped with the right tools. They must be here for fun. They had just expressed their willingness to help them to find Chinese fleeceflower root, but here they were strolling around, which made Xie Jingrong feel displeased. He believed that the couple was not sticking to the promise, nor were they reliable. Chapter 144. Dumbfounded Xiao Xian shook her head but smiled. We were just doing some business in the village nearby, but I heard that the scenery here is very good, so we came to take a look at it. It is very unlikely that we can find Chinese fleeceflower roots over 500 years old in this place. We would seek that somewhere else. Don't worry, it is very likely to find it in the deep mountains. Only now did Yue Xiao realize that he must have not asked the right question. He could not help but complain inwardly. This couple was indeed open-minded. How could they find a Chinese fleeceflower root over 500 years old so easily? What were they doing here after they made the promise to them? Moreover, they were caught red-handed by Brother Xie? What bad luck. He was a cultivated talent, and she was the daughter of the county magistrate. They should have the idea of who the Xie family was, right? Why were they letting go of the opportunity of doing them a favor? Yue Xiao shook his head inwardly, but he did not want to show it. So he chuckled dryly. That is true. The scenery here is indeed beautiful. Let's visit the place together? But Xiao Xian paused. I think that it is going to rain soon, so we are not going up. I suggest you two walk downhill as well. There was another change that happened to her superpower the day before. She could not only see the past and future of the strange man, but it led to another good function. The humidity and temperature in the air were all related to the vegetation, so when she took a deep breath just now, she vaguely smelled something strange. When she concentrated carefully and then inhaled again to distinguish, she could feel the humidity brought by the mountain wind and the breath of rain. It was going to rain soon. This new superpower of hers was still weak, and the range was not wide, hence the prediction period was not completely accurate. But she could easily confirm that it was going to rain soon. Yue Xiao subconsciously looked at the sky, hearing what Xiao Xian said. It was sunny everywhere. How could it be raining anytime soon? Oh, she must be trying to find one excuse to get rid of them. Well, they were not friends, and worse, were caught red-handed for being lazy. The couple must be feeling rather uncomfortable inside their hearts. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. Even Xiao Yunduan believed so. He did not know what to say. The excuse his wife found was just too unreliable. But he nodded at the excuse and helped her anyway. Xiao Yunduan added, True, the weather keeps changing after the Dragon Boat Festival, and it is going to rain soon, maybe. We will take your leave now, and you two better go downhill as well. All right then, see you. Bye. Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan went down the hill together. Xiao Xian admired her husband's excuse. She had her superpower that helped her to cheat, but what about her husband? Did he read so much so that he could predict the weather as well? The couple had just walked into the village when the rain came down heavily. The couple found a farmer's family for shelter. Good that we ran off the mountain fast enough. Xiao Xian stuck out her tongue. Otherwise she had no extra clothes to wear. Yes, Xiao Yunduan was dumbfounded. So his wife was not coming up with an excuse? She really sensed the rain? He asked involuntarily. How did you know that it was going to rain soon? Xiao Xian was startled. You sensed that too, right? I saw the heavy cloud in the sky far away. Chapter 145. Guilty. Xiao Xian felt a bit guilty. She believed that it was because of Xiao Yunduan's rich knowledge that he could forecast the weather, but he was just wondering how she could tell the change of weather at the moment. He could not have remembered that there was no heavy cloud in the sky all this while, right? Sure enough, Xiao Yunduan did not remember, nor did he think of it deeply. He smiled. Oh, that is right. You are a very careful person. Xiao Xian laughed. Of course she was. But it reminded her of one thing. She should be careful when using the superpower, and could just put it at bay when she did not have to use it. Once or twice would be enough. Too many times might cause suspicion and lead to nothing good. The rain was pouring, and soon the drapery of clouds covered the whole sky. The couple were waiting without knowing what to do. The rain came too fast, but it left fast too. Soon it would stop. But before the rain ended, two unexpected guests, namely Xiao and Xie Jingrong, arrived there. The two of them were soaked thoroughly. Their hair and clothes were all wet. They were in a total mess. The four of them got startled as they ran into each other again. Xiao smiled. "Young Master Xie, second miss, we are bound together, aren't we?" Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan. "Oh well." The two of them exchanged some greetings, and Xiao Yunduan added, "Just tidy up and don't get cold. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site." Thanks. Xiao Xian even asked the mistress of the house to boil a bowl of hot ginger soup. Xiao wiped away his face and smiled. "It is fine, our servants are fetching the clean clothes. They will be here soon." Their wagon was parked outside the village, which was a bit far away from here. The road wasn't flat, and the rain was so heavy. These two young masters had never been through any bitterness, so they had no choice but to find a house to take shelter whilst their servants went to get the wagon. Xiao sighed regretfully. "We should have listened to your advice and followed you downhill. It is raining." "But second miss, how did you know that it was going to rain soon? It was so sunny just a while ago." Xiao's eyes widened. He was really curious. He had found Xiao Xian's words ridiculous when he saw the good weather. He had thought that Xiao Xian and her husband must be thinking of an excuse to stay away from them. However, she had been telling the truth. Xiao Xian lied as she smiled. "I saw heavy clouds in the sky." Xie Jingrong looked at her. But there did not seem to be heavy clouds in the sky. He used the word seem, but he sounded resolute. Xiao Xian was startled, so was Xiao. Xiao Yunduan wasn't happy at the moment. His wife never lied. And why did she have to lie anyway? Young Master Xie was so arrogant. Xiao Yunduan added without hesitation. There were dark clouds in the sky. Xiao Xian nodded and sounded innocent. There were. Xie Jingrong raised his eyebrows. He had always had a good memory and could never forget things after one glance. He remembered clearly that there was no heavy cloud in the sky, but could he have been wrong? Seeing the resolute look on the couple, Xie Jingrong could not help but feel unsure. Chapter 146. No need. Xiao laughed as he looked at him. "Oh, all right, no wonder this happened." Young Master Xie never forgot whatever he saw, and he never made mistakes in remembering things. Xiao was thinking in a mocking way. Xiao Xian smiled. "I should have reminded you more urgently. Oh, here is the ginger soup, drink it to drive away the coldness. The rain is just so torrential." Xiao Xian let out a sigh of relief, and felt lucky to have ended the topic. Xie Jingrong and Xiao expressed their gratitude to the farmer and accepted the ginger soup. They should not get cold. Though the ginger soup tasted bad, they still took it and drank it. The farmer had never spoken with any noble, handsome young master, so she was startled by their gratitude. She got startled and staggered, and finally ran away in a hurry. Xiao Yunduan said to Xiao Xian, "Drink some ginger soup too, I will get you some." "No." Xiao Xian took hold of him and whispered, "I don't like the taste, I don't want it." "But look at the weather, no." She spoke in a coquettish tone, which made Xiao Yunduan's heart throb. He flushed slightly and dropped the topic. She was healthy, and had never complained about being tired after so many visits to the mountains. She should be well. Soon, Xiao's servants arrived. They came with a well-wrapped clothes bag, but not a wagon. The wagon had fallen into a water pit and was broken. Now they had to wait until the rain stopped, so someone could come and fix the wagon. There was nothing else they could do at the moment. The rain was slowing down and it should be over soon. But the road to town was very far away. Xiao Xian smiled. "It is lunchtime. If you want, I can borrow the farmer's kitchen to make some casual food, what do you think?" Xiao was startled. Second miss, you know how to cook? Xian chuckled as she raised her eyebrows. It is just cooking, right? Xiao laughed and said to her happily, sure, then, thanks, second miss, we are really starving. Xian smiled. So are we. I will just make some casual food since I will be using the farmer's kitchen. You can change your clothes till then and wait. I will be done soon. Xian told them and dragged Xiao Yunduan inside to give her a hand. Xiao Yunduan had no opinion and followed her into the kitchen. Xiao found the whole scene so rare. He said to Xie Jingrong happily, second miss is so interesting, so is cultivated talent Xiao. He is willing to cook food with his wife. How did second miss manage to make him so obedient? Xie Jingrong glanced at him. Just drop it. Making him so obedient? That was not a very polite phrase to use. Xiao chuckled and stopped. In the kitchen, Xiao Yunduan could not help but say, are you really making food for them? She did not have to. Xiao Yunduan wasn't pleased. Why must his wife make food for those two? Xian patted his hands and smiled. We are starving too, right? And the farmer is helping us. It should be done quickly. I can help you as well, just tell me what to do. He knew that when she was making food at home, washing and cutting vegetables as well as dishing were all done by his elder sister-in-law as well as Tao Dao. She had never done such work before. She was a nobly born daughter and did not know how to do all of these. Chapter 147 Offering Xian agreed to his offer and then spoke to the farmer lady regarding the ingredients. After the discussion, she laughed and gave 3 qian to the lady. The lady gave 31 to the neighbors and told them to do something, so 2 children around the age of 12 went out. The farmer lady killed 1 rooster after she returned, and according to the instruction of Xian, she pulled out garlic sprouts, shallots, picked cabbages, as well as eggplants. By the time the chicken was de-haired, cut into pieces, boiled, and all kinds of vegetables and seasonings were getting ready, the 2 neighboring children came back. They had 3 eels with them. Under this weather, the water in the ditch was rising, and the loaches and eels were seen everywhere, easy for them to catch. The 2 children had gone to the ditch to catch eels. Apart from eels, they had a dozen loaches and offered them as a present. Those things were not worth any money. They only used them to feed chickens and ducks. But Xian loved them. She had many ways of making loaches, but due to the lack of seasonings at the lattice home, all she could do was to wrap them with egg porridge and pan-fried them. With the help of the lady and Xiao Yunduan, the lunch was ready within no time. The dishes included roasted chicken with eels, pan-fried loaches, eggplant with garlic, shredded cabbages, fried egg with shallots, plus a big bowl of light cabbage soup. The lady was very concerned about the way Xian cooked, and was dumbfounded too. But thinking of the 300 won in her pocket, she said nothing. The lunch, plus the chicken, cost around 100 won. She had made a great deal of money from this lunch, so the guests could do whatever they wanted with the ingredients. What amazed her was that young Master Xiao was doing the dishes, washing vegetables, starting a fire and doing all kinds of dirty and filthy work. All Mrs. Xiao did was stir and fry the ingredients in the pan, which wasn't a very difficult task. The lady could not help but feel jealous. Mrs. Xiao, you are so lucky to have such a diligent husband. Young Master Xiao looked quiet, but he was so willing to do all these tasks, whilst her own husband never even wanted to step into the kitchen for anything. Xian threw a look at Xiao Yunduan, who looked embarrassed. Then she smiled at the lady and nodded. Xiao Yunduan threw a sneaky glance at her and pretended to be calm. But actually he felt excited inwardly, and even felt happiness striking his heartstrings. Xian asked for clean bowls and gave some portions to the Lattice family before the dishes were served. The Lattice family was out for work, only she and her youngest daughter and son were at home, who were already drooling but had made no sound. They knew that it was something their guests bought, not something that belonged to their family. Xian did not like that. Lady, try these dishes with your children. Oh, thank you so much. The woman was surprised and happy, but also felt a little embarrassed. But seeing how her children were greedy for the dishes, she did not turn her down and accepted the dishes after saying a few polite words. When the dishes were served, both Yue Xiao and Xie Jingrong were startled. Yue Xiao looked at the dishes and then at Qiao Xian suspiciously. He was really confused. Did she really make all the dishes? Even Xie Jingrong was taken aback. He could not think of how Yue Xiao said that she was different from all the concubine daughters they had met till date. Concubine daughters were often those who got spoiled by the madam of the family and behaved like a dumbass. You're tuning in to the Wang Lin's Journey YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.